Let's cue that. Hopefully that comes over.
And can they hear us yet on YouTube?
Theoretically. Oh, no. Let me just refresh this page. No. Does that have...
So, yang and yin go together. But, through not seeing this, the whole of our life is, as I said, geared to the thought that we might be able to make the yang side win. And so, in every sort of human enterprise, we are trying to have white without black. When you talk about improving the world, you are meaning, presumably, that you want it more white than black, or whichever one you call the good one. Maybe you think the black is the good. We think, could we get rid of the other one? Now, as you know, in all matters of practical living, it never works. So, it grows, you worry, because you found out that you didn't get yang without yin. You got a new yang, a bigger yang, instead of the former little one you have, but you got a big yin with it. People who speak of having right without its correlative wrong do not understand the basic principles of the universe. One might just as well speak of having yang without yin, and such people must be either knaves or fools. Of course, how would we know we were wise unless there were knaves and fools? But here it is, you see. You cannot beat the game. You can have the temporary illusion of winning, but by compensation you will ever so often have the temporary illusion of losing.
Hey there, travelers. My name's Kai, and welcome to the Misery Likes Company live stream. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Mike in studio.
What's up, everyone?
We are simulcasting on YouTube as well tonight, so I will repeatedly be putting in chat a little copy and paste for how people can find us. So yeah, we're actually live. Yeah, I think you saw Mike in chat probably. So yeah, I'm gonna check everything else and see what the live list looks like, because I have a feeling 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, well that should be interesting. It's gonna be a slow grind up on the listener count. That I assure you.
You're talking as far as Podbean. I'm seeing a ton of shows that are live right now, including one that seems to always be live, but good for him. I'm excited about it. I'll be in and out of the chat. I'll be trying to monitor YouTube and on Podbean. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Ironically said. So what do we want to talk about at the top of the show? Oh, you know what?
Let's give a preview of what we're going to talk about. I'm sure we're going to talk politics because that tends to happen. Seems to intermingle with about everything in our lives these days. I think we'll also, of course, be talking about the big, Wuhan flu, whatever you want to call it, guys.
COVID-19.
I'm not a big fan of the name, but either way, we'll definitely cover that. We'll cover quarantine and some other words that are likely banned.
And I'm, of course, going to dive into my rage list, which is basically capitalism, politics, world news, cops, that sort of thing. So we'll have a variety of articles and annoying things to talk about along the way. And
you won't be annoyed, though.
Oh, no, I enjoy it. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn, thanks for joining us.
Okay, so what is it? Yeah. Oh, I saw that. So I'm guessing it's conspiracy truth. Yeah, I was it.
The truth. This is not for debate. This is 100% the truth. I'm like, man, you need to reword that shit. Because that is totally a conspiracy theory, and it's not necessarily the truth.
Was it a guy by the name of Rich?
I would suggest. I don't know what his name is.
Okay.
It's the realist. His title was The Truth.
Yeah, I think that may be Rich. Is it bad that I already know who the fuck that might be? But, yeah.
No, but he wants to come on my show and talk about it. I'm like, I need to go get Kai for this because I don't have fucking nearly enough info for this.
Well, I'm completely out of the loop, so.
Yeah, there was a guy. I mean, like you said, it's a guy that's calling himself the realist, and his show was called. Was it just The Truth? Because I saw it earlier.
It was called The Truth.
Yeah.
It just ended like 10 minutes ago. I went to Kai about it, and then I started. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to tell Kai about this.
Yeah. I saw it. I was like, I think that might be Rich. And Rich came into my show as a new user, and he pulled a Rick, basically. Thanks for the heads up on that one, by the way. I got Christina's text.
A Rick C-137?
Sheet Metal NY.
I think we're talking about trolls today, guys. I think we're talking about trolls. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, not really, because, I mean, there's this maneuver Rick does that I can convince you of anything for sure 100%. And this guy, like, had the same opinion on that, like, same basis for that opinion. And he's like, oh, for sure I can come back here anytime and convince you of anything 100%. I'm like, well, good luck with that.
I really appreciate the confidence, though. But if you can convince someone of something, you certainly don't need to brag about it.
Well, there's a giant wall between confidence and delusion, and I think he may have hopped that wall. So, yeah, it sounds like you're moving dishes and shit. You still at work, bro?
Yeah, I'm still at work, but I was all excited to talk about this, so I hit the call button even though I was at work.
Rock on. So, like, what was the content? What was he talking?
It was all COVID conspiracy theories, and that the United States is doing this on purpose and blah blah blah. And it's all a big conspiracy theory to get white people having more babies. And like, oh Jesus.
I haven't heard that angle yet.
And then I make any comment you would make, he's like, if you don't fucking like the truth, get the fuck off my channel. Blah blah blah. This isn't a debate. And I'm like, and you want to call my channel? Fuck off. Like,
Oh man, I'm that's a shame he's not around. I should change the title of the show to say something invoking his, like, welcome realist, come inform me of the truth or something. Like, try to bait this dude in.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I mean, I did pump your show. I said, you need to go to these guys because this is right up their alley.
Yeah, send him my way. I'll have fun with him. Mike will have fun with him.
I always do. Any of the serious ones that are just kind of a little woo, woo, out there,
Yeah.
I send them your way.
Good. Attaboy.
Good content on your channel.
And I send angry, sexually repressed Catholics your way.
Yes, who are never ever going to show up.
I know, right? The other nice Catholic left me a lovely comment, just like emoticons and hearts and stuff on one of my latest episodes.
Oh, wait. You might not want to talk to the realist because he thinks being gay is an abomination based on the Bible. So.
Oh, sweet. I so want him. After yesterday, I'm still kind of... We're going to have to share that story once we get rolling here because Mike doesn't know that story. And that was fucking, I'm still a little wound up from that. So I could use a good Catholic to, bash on.
Yeah, and then I took your thing and I said, you do realize that everything in the Bible says stuff about, like, not less women are lesser people. I don't care about women being lesser people. The woman's on the line. She's like, you can't just pick and choose which segments of the Bible you want to believe.
Selective literalism.
Auto ended.
Yeah.
But then the show ended, so it was actually kind of funny because she got the last word because he was done right after that. I cut him off. Like,
Oh, rock on. Yeah, we're thinking we might do a back to...
Anyway, I'm going to hop off and listen.
All right, well, we're thinking we might do a back-to-back. If you want to throw it on YouTube, we'll be on there as well, so you can... I'll wave at you. Because Mike's in studio tonight, so you can see him too.
All right. Well, I prefer looking at you. I'm not sure I want to look at Mike. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I'm the top camera, so you can just focus.
Top camera, bottom partner.
See?
You're all sorts of positions, eh?
All sorts. Switching it up. So what is...
I'm going to go to listening because I think it's...
Okay.
Sorry.
No. I was just going to ask you what everything swallow. What's up with the baby boomers?
What do you mean, what's up with the baby boomers?
Well, they seem to be like baby boomer aged, the Everything Swallow podcast. I've never checked in on them.
Oh, they're potheads from Colorado.
Ah.
The guy's like a DJ at one of the local radio stations, so that's where he gets his following from.
Okay.
Is that he's like the morning show guy in some Colorado, and they're 420 friendly. Most of his listener base is local people in his city.
Ah, all right. That answers that. And yeah, it looks like Cassiano and Crack are doing their fucking sea turtle stuff tonight, huh?
I got asked to leave from Crack's room.
Really? Oh, were you behaving like Glenn?
Yeah. Well, Rick talked to me.
Oh, all right. Well, well, okay then. Well, we get.
We know what I was doing when Rick talked.
Yep. Yeah, we do.
Cassiano jumped on his side, so I went fucking throwing daggers at him too, and then I was throwing daggers at Rick, and then Cracks got involved. I threw a couple at her, and then I left.
I'll take your side to the death, my brother. I'll take your side to the death. All right. Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm gonna talk about it on my show if you're on.
Cool. Well, we might do a double header here. I don't know. We might take a break so Mike can run because the dispensary is going to be forced closed at midnight. But yeah, I was.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking a double header tonight, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah. So.
You can pass the baton off to me. We can pass it back to you if you want.
Man, that's
like a preview to the marathon we're thinking of doing.
11.
You're like, no.
2, 5.
Like,
No, that's a little too. That's pushing it. So.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Either way. Yeah. Check back in. Whatever. Enjoy. Doing dish pit.
Oh, it's just actually sweeping them up now. We're good.
All right. Cool, man. I'll catch you in a little bit.
All right. I'll keep listening.
All right. Cool. All right. So then, Max motherfucking Power. I see you in there. Say hello in the chat. I see you out there. Okay, so What up, my brother? All right, so here's the story we were talking about. So I went on this guy's podcast last night. And Glenn made me name check him on his channel. And then we may or may not have encouraged people to embrace their self-agency because, well, we are hosts. We have no control over what people who listen to us do. And so if someone were to find his channel and go and visit and say hello on my behalf, well, that's up to them, wouldn't it be? So this guy by the name of Den of the Unknown does a mystery, like unsolved mystery, true crime sort of podcast. And so basically they get onto the topic of death penalty. And I say that, I'm in chat. I'm trying to rest my voice at that point. And he, there you go. Send that over to him. I, of course, use the old line that, that makes me party to a state mandated execution. And while we have evidence that innocent people are, and will continue to be executed, that makes me an unwilling party to murder. So I can't support death penalty in any way, shape, or form. And so, of course, this dude rolls out at one point, well, the United States legal system was founded on biblical law. This is where I'm pounding the call-in button. I'm literally just slamming the call-in button at this point, even though it's a touch-sensitive phone. Like, bitch, answer the fucking line. There's no way I'm going to let the United States is founded on biblical law slide. And so immediately, like, as soon as the call connects, I'm just flooding the airwaves with, like, in no way, shape, or form was this country founded on biblical law. It's a pluralistic, democratic, secular nation. We say so both in the writing of the Constitution, the private writings of the founders, and in the speeches given by the founders on the very floor of our governance. So in no way, shape, or form is this a biblical law society. There's no theocratic influence here. Oh, well, okay. So this descends into a discussion about religion, of course, and he tries to use a statistical outlier as a foundational argument. The statistical outlier argument being, well, there's some people, there's things like, gay people choose to be gay, and sometimes there's, parents force their kids, like a male boy, they force their boy, and I'm mimicking, they force their boy to grow up as a girl, and that's wrong. Okay, sure, maybe that's happened a handful of times, and I will grant you that, but let's roll back the clock to the fact that you have just said being gay is a choice. So I just start in on the classic, when did you choose to be straight? This all, I will long and short of it, this descends into a 90-minute, eventually I get help from a guy named Has Joined. If you're out there, bro, I love you. Love you to death. Thanks for getting my back on that one. There's 450 species that exhibit, not just homosexual sexual relations, but they adoptive child rearing, partnership throughout their entire lifetime. There are over 450 species that have been studied and exhibit homosexual behavior throughout the animal kingdom. So it's a naturalistic phenomenon. Well, if we allow gay people, if we accept gayness, if we accept LGBT rights, then in a few generations, the human species is going to die out because everybody's going to be gay. Yeah. This is the debate I'm having to have last night. And so I'm like, so me and Has Joined just start laughing at that point. And I pointed out, I'm like, you do realize this makes you sound gay, right? It makes you sound like you're fighting every day the gayness.
For someone to know that they're straight, you just know it, And then to think that you could choose to be gay, that people, anyone,
that you would,
or that you could, that to know that you're straight, and to think that, you could just, flip a switch or something. I don't know how this works, but that's obviously.
I proposed that at one point. I said, tomorrow I want you to wake up and be gay. Just as a thought experiment. Hypothetically, I want you to be gay tomorrow. Just make the choice.
But the saying, pearls before swine comes to mind with some people. The saying is you can't fix stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it just kind of, it's like arguing with a cop. they don't really have the comprehension or intelligence to put together what you're,
No, and apparently he has a religious show on Sunday. Like,
Well, of course he does.
of course he does.
Of course he does.
So so this goes on for a while, and then this the lovely Catholic. There's two religious women that we're going to address in this story. One of them is a Roman Catholic from Southern California, and she was lovely. Has joined, and I beat the ever-loving fuck out of her on air, basically, when she came on, and the first words out of her mouth were, "Well, I don't believe in homosexuality." Yeah, I don't believe in. I did. Has joined says, "Well, I believe in oxygen," and I took the cue and I said, "Well, I don't." And Den of the Unknown, the host, says, "How do you not believe in oxygen? It's been proven." And fucking, we both start laughing. I'm like, well, as far as I can tell, as far as I can see, I don't see any oxygen. My anecdotal evidence is what you're basing all of your opinions on. So I'm just going to go with it as well. Fuck all that science, right? You dismissed the science. I'm dismissing the science now. That's how we do this, right? And so she tried to justify something, and I rolled out Timothy 2:12, which basically says, no woman is allowed to have an opinion or act superior to a man, only be quiet. And he had a thunder strike right when that happened, and his podcast got cut off. So the very last thing said at that was that he got it back up, and a few of us went back in, and he, the first one, I took the line back up, and the first one to come was, we'll call her PBG. There's you'll see them occasionally, the random generated user account names for Podbean. They're just a string of, and they usually start with PB something. And she was a born again Christian with issues. She screamed at me. I went over to Whole Foods. I literally got in the vehicle, headphones on, fucking drove over there, did what I needed to do, drove back, got shit done. She screamed at me the whole way. Asked me questions, of course, but didn't allow me to answer. The only point that I got in the middle of that long-ass diatribe of hers, just screaming, just, I'm going to hell, you queers, you faggots, all that sort of stuff, just screaming at me. She said, answer me this. You said it's against nature. Then how? Clearly, nature says the anus is a one-way tube. How is there pleasure to be derived from the The only word I got in this whole time was a plug for Glenn and Christina's show. She said, it is impossible for women to derive pleasure from anal sex. I said, well, I invite you to visit the Random Couple Show with host Glenn and Christina, and you can have that conversation about pleasurable anal sex with a female partner, no problem. And she, screamed and screamed and screamed. Got back here. The Roman Catholic from California had apparently gone on Pod God's show and said like she had been disconnected and it was mean and all that. And she found her way back. And, Den explained to her that, no, in fact, you weren't disconnected. It was just a lightning strike. And you're more than welcome to call in. It wasn't on purpose. And she calls back in and she says the nicest thing. She says, the Bible says that, The Bible says that it's not my place to judge and that it's God's place to judge. So ultimately, it's God's place to judge, and it's, I only love my fellow brothers and sisters. And she, what are you doing?
I'm pointing up to you.
Oh, all right.
Like a vibrating bunch.
She said, I have nothing but love for my fellow brothers and sisters.
Checking the camera's range.
And so she pissed off the born again. She said, what religion are you? She's like, I'm a Catholic. I'm a Roman Catholic. You're not a fucking Christian. You bow down to those pedophile priests. You call them fathers. I bet you fucking suck their dicks. You're a fucking terrible person. She just went off on her. And so, if you have
I have no volume control.
let's see. Where's my two? There's my two. There's she just went off on her. And she just, I mean, this poor, like, kind of softly spoken Roman Catholic woman, like, I think mildly Hispanic based on accent, just getting berated by this angry fucking born again. And she, welcome LW. She eventually wore out her welcome. She's screaming at everybody. She's getting into weird shit about how her pagan husband forsaked God and Jesus and their union, and now she has to remain chaste for the rest of her life because that's the only way biblical law allows her to maintain a divorce. And so, of course, she just needs a good dicking, probably. I mean, this is the fundamental of that. Like, you know, if you really are maintaining that, I cry myself to sleep every 2 nights because of this. And, you know, at one point I just said, if you consider therapy, welcome, grab them. And when they were discussing earlier in the conversation, way back before the lightning strike, they said, I said to has joined, I said, you know, how do you feel about the thought of 2 men having sex? And he said, you know, and he said, what about you? You know, how do you feel about, you know, women? I said, oh, God, ew. And later in the conversation, the angry born again screams at me that I was deeply offended by when you said ew. And Den of the Unknown comes in and says, yeah, I was kind of offended by that too. I spent 90 minutes getting screamed at, berated, called a faggot, undermined, told my entire being is unjust and doesn't deserve to exist, and I should be forced into a conversion camp. Just fine. But a single ew from a gay guy at the thought of heterosex offended him. I'm like, all right, I see how this is. So fuck you, fuck her, fuck this channel, fuck all of you religious nut jobs that have congregated here. And yeah, it was a clusterfuck. And, you know, it happened on a cold case channel. But yeah, we're name checking them. Yeah, exactly. Grab them. Den of the Unknown. If you want to stop by and say hello on my behalf, by all means. Apparently, he's got a Sunday religious program where he welcomes open conversation and call-ins. So, you know.
Sounds like they did let you talk a little bit, though, enough to get the Glenn and Christina's show out.
Literally, I had to yell over her for that one.
So they really didn't let you talk.
Once she was on the line.
Am I on, by the way? I'm not hearing myself in the.
I turned you down because you.
Oh, it's the headphone. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's that was I had to scream over her. No, when the Born Again came on the line, it was all downhill from there. The conversation maintained a certain level of civility prior to her. It was insane and undermining and degrading towards me the whole time, of course. But unlike Christians with a victim complex,
you can handle it.
I can handle it. And she, you know, once she was on the line, it was nothing but screeching banshee for the rest of the time.
I wonder if anyone was listening to that. You know, it was just you and her.
I checked at one point. I think he had like 4 or 5 listeners on the line at that. Listeners. So if you count him, myself, her, it's 6. It would have been Blake because Blake TX was in there as well. Because I saw that as well.
So the
I hope he rebranded. Fucking burned the brand. Like after that shit show, I better burn this brand.
The Podbean app is pretty powerful. I mean, it does allow you to live broadcast, and apparently it's fairly easy to do. I don't know what kind of premium packages they offer and things. I haven't gone to do my own podcast, just this one here. But
last night, grab them.
But it seems like it allows everyone to go ahead and just get it on just whenever you're ready to get a podcast on. And boy, tonight there's a lot. I think podcasts will continue to ramp up, over time here if we continue these quarantines. So there'll be a lot of people to listen to. And I'd just like to remind everyone to use your time in the way that best suits you. And if you're surrounded by negativity, there's a million people online. You can always find somebody who really jives with what you're saying, and you guys can have a good time and enjoy yourselves. And if you find people with opposing views and you enjoy, just going back and forth on the opposing views, I think that's great too. I prefer to have productive conversations. That's why here we do have just the 1 or 2 rules in the chat room, and really we're just looking for productive conversation. It sounds like that wasn't very productive, but I'm glad you got it off your chest.
Oh, no, it was productive. It taught me not to ever go back in that channel.
That's it. That's a lesson learned, people. I wanted to mention while I had this up here, you guys on camera might have seen this before. I'd had this up for a minute, but this is there's a song that goes together with Max Power, and he Homer. There's a clip here. Max Power. He's the man with the name you'd love to touch. So that's a little song that goes with Max Power, the man with the name you'd love to touch.
There you go.
Because that makes sense. But Max Power is from a Simpsons episode. He got the name off of a blow dryer.
Ah, nice.
So yeah, and he felt a lot more powerful, I think, when he took that new moniker on. You can still call me Mike, although I go by Life Size Box on all my social media. You can find me there anywhere, and pretty much any social media at Life Size Box, all one word. And while we're at it, for previous podcasts, in which we have 10 of them.
No, this is 13.
Oh, sorry, 12 of them currently on. This will be 13 on kaisthings.com. KAIS things.
Yep. Welcome, Rafi.
And we do have call-ins, and so at some point, if you guys are feeling like you want to call in, definitely hit us up in the chat.
So that's the story that basically fucking we were referencing. That it was an interesting evening, and I told Glenn and Christine I wanted to throw up the no I'm from we're both here, let me put this in chat again for you, Rafi. No, I'm from, well, I'm not from, but both Mike and I are residing in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, and welcome random user. Welcome a random Podbean user.
Yeah, apparently we're getting a nice flow, influx of people coming in on Podbean. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We're also live broadcasting on YouTube. Not too many people watching there, but I'm enjoying the Podbean aspect. And, of course, all our podcasts are available, as well as Kai has his solo podcast that he does called Probably Radical.
Correct. Glenn, I was almost offended someone had the name random user. No, Glenn, just the randomly generated username. Don't worry, nobody's biting off your shit. He's very protective of one piece of IP, basically, that they've come up with, and it's not the random thing. And don't worry, Glenn, I won't even say it on my air. I know it's yours, even though I'm terribly tempted to just steal it ironically, since you keep telling everybody if you hear it.
Don't do it.
There it is, right in chat. That's what they wish people on the Random Couple Show, rather than good dreams or sweet dreams.
All right. Well, they keep it lively.
Oh, now I can read it. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So let's, now that we have like an assemblage here of some sort, let's attempt to drive some of them off with some serious conversation.
You guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We'd love to hear your input, and Kai's got a lot of friends here on Podbean, so it's good you guys are checking in. Please share your thoughts. Don't hesitate to let us know what you think. And I don't mind talking about some serious topics. But we'll try to balance it out.
Yeah, we'll see.
We can do it.
Yes, I platonically love you as well, Glenn. Let's see. So I don't know where we want to start. I mean, you want to just address the elephant in the room and deal with it?
I was checking out at the grocery store, just grabbed 2 items, not hoarding. Apparently, a lot of haters out there on the hoarding. I don't fault those hoarders, but it would have been better if they would have just been prepared ahead of time. Either way, they asked, how long you think this might go on, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Everything's kind of closed down here in Vegas till about the 16th, it looks like. And I went ahead and let them know it's 18 months. And, people kind of scoff at that at first, and it's hard to comprehend. But you can look it up, just type 18 months pandemic. Put that in. There's New York Times articles. There's all kinds, actually, So there's a ton of interesting information on that. And so some people are talking about, well, how long will this last? Because they're trying to change life as we know it. And I'm glad we're talking about this now because, there's the whole face touching thing. We heard lots of stories of people yelling at people, don't touch your face and this and that. Listen, you can't. They're trying to give everyone OCD is what it feels like to me. I read about someone who got a ticket for standing more than 6 feet together talking to her friend. And so she got a $400 ticket for not practicing social distancing. So in Newport Beach. So yeah, this is they're trying to change our very way of life.
Oh, got rid of Rafi.
Absolutely incredible. So nobody wants it, nobody likes it, but these are the facts, and I'm glad we're talking about it. And that would be the one thing, new headline I'd like to talk about, besides the fact that Nevada will be under. Really, what was it? Wasn't a suggestion, was it? Wasn't they?
I don't know what Nevada's was.
It was an order to stay home unless you're, I guess, essential. Starting at midnight, and all essential or non-essential businesses will be closing, which means I'm not sure if it's even safe to travel. Of course, not because of any armed thugs, except for the ones in blue.
Let's see.
So the hope is we can wrap this thing up. And what I would do is I would encourage everyone to communicate with as many people as you can, and including your elected officials.
It doesn't look like...
Please contact your elected officials.
That doesn't work, remember?
Doesn't work.
So,
but everything you can do, as much communication as you can, people.
Okay, so no, there's no private order in place. There is for businesses. Gas stations, convenience stores, banks and financial institutions, hardware stores, pharmacies, child daycare, restaurants with delivery and takeout options, emergency services, hospital, medical facilities, garbage collection, post office, FedEx, UPS, veterinarians, and big box stores are on the essential business list. Everybody else is out. Clubs, bars, movie theaters, hair, nail salon, barbershops, nail and tanning salons, casinos, gaming machines, shopping malls, bowling alleys, skating rinks, and museums are on the iterated non-essential list.
Well, I guess we're going to have to go through whatever, the master says, whatever the king says. If they say, hey, you can't do it, then you can't do it. Because they will shoot you in the face.
Well, it doesn't seem like we have an in-place order for the populace.
Since they've closed everything that you really want to do, a friend of mine from L.A. Texted me today. He said, yeah, I'm in Vegas. He said, there's nothing to do here.
Why'd you come?
He said he had to get out of L.A. I don't know. But I said, this isn't much a better place. So, I don't know what he's going to do. They've closed everything down, people, by mandate. And so land of the free, home of the brave is what I told the checker at the checkout at CVS. And so she said, oh, I don't know. And she's pretty afraid. And so I guess we just need to fix that from land of the free, home of the brave, to land of the fee, home of the slave, because apparently that's the direction we're headed.
What do you mean? Look, I mean, you want to make that argument. This happened 20 years ago.
Fear is what they use to control people.
And so I just
remind everyone to not be too afraid. Don't let fear control your actions. Stay on course. And
but don't be a douchebag and get fucking an entire retirement home dead because your dumb ass had to go bowling or something.
So a friend of mine, his wife is a nurse, and I've been reading a lot and seeing a lot about how nurses are quarantining themselves. In fact, one particular case, a girl was living in the garage and not leaving the garage. The whole garage is all plastic, quarantined off, whatever it is, and she's just going to do that until this thing's over. But it really, it varies on how you feel about it. I just don't want fear to become too big of a factor here.
And Russia is denying it even exists, basically, even though they have had an uptick in community-acquired pneumonia cases. So don't worry, COVID-19 isn't a thing in Russia, just community-acquired pneumonia. So, that's good old Putin PR playbook sort of territory.
Everyone, they keep changing the names from shell shock to PTSD. I think it's something new now. Trash man used to be garbage man used to be a sanitation expert. I don't know what you're calling them now.
Language evolves.
Yeah, and Russia's doing the same trick.
Except they're basically saying it's not happening at all. They're also denying the community-acquired pneumonia is happening.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out through the social networks as long as they're still up. We'll be hearing reports from Russia, and if the hospital's overrun, we'll likely find out about it. I'd be curious to see how that plays out.
I mean, Russia's in that category of they don't give a fuck. They will murder millions of their own people and not think twice.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
It's
some crazy potential bioweapon here,
exactly.
so.
Grab them. Nah, there's a solid. I mean, it's a difficult read for most people, but I have it. If anybody wants the actual, the genomic study of the COVID-19 virus, it's a damn difficult read. But here's the. I'll even throw it in chat.
Does anyone know who Patient Zero is? Have they looked up who Patient Zero is? Because that's an important thing to know, and it's out there. You can look it up.
Yeah.
Find out Patient Zero. Does anybody know?
Yeah, exactly. No, there is a suspected Patient Zero.
Oh no, we know who Patient Zero is. I'm just saying that the crowd may not have an impact on that. They may not have looked that up. I think it's important to know.
It's a Chinese dude. All the way back in November.
Yeah. Back during the World Games. Look that up.
It's don't want that one. That's a different one entirely. It's a suspected man from the Hubei province from early November.
We'll have to look into that.
Let's see if they're not gonna tell you this poor man's name. He's an unnamed 55-year-old who contracted it on November 17th, about approximately a month before.
According to who?
Again, I'm not.
The who, right?
I could provide. I had this with Jay. I'm not going to name him one night. I provided 7 sources, and none of them were good enough. I'm not playing that fucking source game. Fucking look it up yourself, and if you're happy with the source, there you go. We suspect who Patient Zero is. So you either trust it or don't, but I'm not playing the source game. That's a fucking...
Hey, Mr. Harry Lasagna, thanks for hanging out. Sorry, my co-host is getting a little fired up, but glad you joined.
Oh, it's always, well, that source doesn't qualify. Well, do you know exactly who that reporter was and that sort of thing? It's like, look, either believe the source or don't. Take it at your own will, but I'm not gonna source 97 sources for people at this point.
Trigger alert.
Well, I have had to do that with many people in my life.
It's true, Mr. Harry Lasagna. You're right.
No single source is good enough.
All right. And so with that...
No such thing as fired up, just reality.
That's right. It's true. So with that, we're looking at an update here. 19,624 confirmed COVID cases, in the United States alone. Only 260 deaths so far.
According to who?
We'll see. I don't know. It's, Global Times is reporting this right now. It looks like
we're
they're
already
getting it from...
Our trending is already higher than Italy's trending, so it seems we're not containing well enough on a per capita.
And so I'd like to ask the chat out there if you guys are feeling comfortable about the situation, how you're feeling about the quarantine, if you agree with the quarantine or if you disagree. And if you do agree, I'd like to know why. And if you don't agree, I'd like to know why as well. Obviously, they've opened the doors to conspiracy theories. But I absolutely would like your opinion on how you feel personally. So feel free to chime in the chat. And I'll ask my co-host, how do you feel about the quarantine?
I think it's a necessary step, and had we done it with the Spanish flu, we wouldn't have had 18 million people dead across the globe, but we didn't know any better back then. It's a possibility. It can be seized upon by authoritarian entities, of course, but every single thing can be seized upon by authoritarian entities. So why not take the measures that are necessary and head it off at the pass? But we haven't quarantined. There's a 3 states that have implemented actual quarantine measures, which leaves 47 states running around like fucking idiots. So, I mean, it's going to spread.
Have you seen the footage of the Florida beaches?
Yeah, fucking young people. I can't wait till that spreads to the retirement communities.
I've only heard of the footage, but apparently it's pretty. People are pretty fired up. They're seeing a lot of young people out there.
Hey, they're not going to be the ones to die. It's that simple. They're not going to be the ones to take the brunt of it.
I'm so glad to hear that, Mr. Lasagna. You're doing great work. Those masks, they're running in short supply. We're moving a little slow in getting those produced, but I saw something on the news today talking about how they're using Korean War law that was enacted during the Korean War to force car manufacturers to make masks and other medical, I guess, gowns and things like that. So hopefully we'll have Ford masks and Ford smocks and all kinds of stuff. We definitely need them. I'm glad they're restocking. I'm glad to hear that you're getting those. I know that in some places there were shortages where the hospitals were asking for donations, and so I think it's
well, don't worry. The multimillionaires of Hollywood have banded together to sing Imagine over social media, so everything's better now.
Yeah, that was no good, people. hate to be the one. I just don't. I didn't care for that particular acapella.
Oh, I didn't even listen to it. I'm just aware of the nonsense. Grab them saying hospitals are full in NYC. I don't see any particular reference to it.
There was a news report tonight that said Cuomo had reported there was 80% full on the beds. And interesting about the incubators, right? Is that what they're called?
Ventilators.
Ventilators. With the little 3D printed piece. I'm sure by now that news story's made its way around. It's kind of old. But $11,000 that company chose to charge for that little piece at the 3D printing, probably for pennies.
About 50 cents.
Yeah. And they're apparently suing them every which way they can. But if the plans are out there, then,
I mean, there's justification. If they don't actually protect their patent, they can lose their patent. But you can also, at the same time as filing the lawsuit, so you can say something like, we're taking this measure to protect our intellectual property and that sort of thing. They didn't say that. They just sued the fuck out. They're filing suit. So they're just being dicks about it. Grab them. So going to the grocery store can get you infected also. Let's face it, public interaction, respiratory illnesses spread by, interaction amongst the people. Stretch goose. I like that name. And respiratory illnesses spread via that method, especially droplets in the hand-to-face sort of mechanism. But in an ideal circumstance, viruses of the coronavirus family can last up to 9 days on a random surface. Those are idealized situations. We're talking UV exposure, open oxygen, that sort of stuff. It degrades the virus faster. But yeah, basically, you can go anywhere and get it. And given some of the numbers and infection rates and symptom presentations rates that we're seeing, you don't necessarily know if you've caught it or not. And so you could just be one link in the chain on its way to get to your mother, your father, your grandfather, somebody's grandfather, your teacher, whomever. And so, in these sorts of situations, isolation and, generalized distancing work best alongside testing. We're not doing the testing, of course. But those two measures are the best measures outside of just general hygiene that you should be maintaining anywhere. Don't fucking touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth when, after you touch stuff in public. That's how flu spreads. That's how the common cold spreads. You want to, avoid that sort of shit? Well, that's how it actually spreads. And so those are the general recommendations. But, this is, it's not going to take out the 25-year-old healthy college grad. It's going to take out the 25-year-old's grandparent. It's going to take out their teacher, that sort of thing. So let's see. Since I can copy and paste. Thank you, thank you, Podbean. What do we got? We got a National Guard video in L.A. Hang on, I can put this on the screen for our YouTube viewers.
Of which there are 3. Thank you guys for joining.
Hang on, let me replay that for you. Fuck it, I'll just refresh the page. There we go. I don't know what that looks like. About 50? Is it about 50? Yeah, those are just Hummers. About 50 Hummers. Heading to LA from San Diego. # Las Vegas lockdown. Does this person know Los Angeles and San Diego isn't Las Vegas?
I'm so confused.
I'm a bit confused too by that.
This whole thing has been confusing. I won't lie here. I'm just being honest. Most people won't admit to being so confused, but at the beginning of this thing, when you really first start hearing it, in the beginning of January, maybe the end of December, if you're really tuned in, and you've been watching this thing kind of progress, I have heard just about everything that you can hear. It's like they've hit every fear, every pain point, everything, whether you're young or it's just the old, or no, now it can happen to the young, because we're hearing that now. And the information just keeps evolving and changing. And obviously we don't know a lot about it, or somebody doesn't know a lot about it. Somebody probably knows, but they're learning a lot about it. And treatments, we're seeing, successful treatments. So that's good to see. But yeah, you're getting a ton of different conflicting information. After CES, I got a little chest situation. I had to sleep for like 18 hours. But I was able to bounce back thanks to, I think, in part to the Manuka honey, which I highly recommend. But who knows? Maybe that was it. Maybe I had it. It wasn't very severe. Moved on. Talk about a case from Hawaii, where I think it's the mayor was here in Vegas on February 22nd through February 25th. And he was at the California Hotel on Main Street Station. Came back, tested positive. Hasn't had any severe symptoms at all. So I don't know what this how this works. So
most
strange.
of people will not present symptoms. A minority, approximately 20%, will present with severe symptoms. Of them, a percentage will be extraordinarily severe, as in you're going to the ICU. Those people tend to be those with comorbidities and advanced age.
So listen to him clarify it all in that lovely tone.
All right. So there's, if anybody wants again, I keep moving it to the wrong screen. There's some data sets and the sources, the various test data sources that you can view for yourself. Good luck. Pause it in YouTube if you want. But these are the testing data information sources per day, per capita, normalized data, total volume, and there are the URLs you can find, the actual published raw data as well if you wanted to formulate your own graphs or work on the data yourself, because it is out there. You just have to look for it. So there we go. What I was showing on YouTube is essentially the lag data because Italy we're 11 days lagged on infection rate from Italy, and you can sort of compare numbers based off of different countries, and our case totals and our infection rates are higher than Italy's are. So, we'll see how that falls out.
Yeah, these numbers that they've been putting out, I haven't really been trusting too much either, because I know China, for one, doesn't really like to put out the truth. We're already pretty sure of that. But the case in Italy is interesting because there was a whole envoy of people that had been in China that came back, and that particular neighborhood was real vulnerable after that. And so you can see how it kind of spread. I wonder how we end up getting so lagged behind when I know I've seen a ton of Chinese people from all over the world really coming through Vegas.
Oh, probably because we just didn't start testing. We'll have to adjust those numbers eventually.
Well, I mean, as far as the hospitals being filled, haven't had that yet.
Well, I mean, we can't really tell that. Those numbers aren't really published in the rate and
Yeah,
the
it
way
would be all over the news if it was overloaded. They're already in New York deploying National Guard to build additional hospital spaces, and they're taking big soccer fields. And
well, there's your published news. I mean, grab them saying the hospitals are full in the NYC. You're saying they're having to do overflow and build temporary hospitals. There's your news.
Well, they're doing that in advance of the potential issue.
Well, I mean, grab them. You got a source for the hospitals are full in NYC? Because our ICUs are always full here.
Yeah, it was 80% is what Cuomo said earlier tonight. He's hilarious. I kind of enjoy watching him speak. Just something a little irks me a little bit about it, but I like that. Get a good laugh out of watching him.
Where's I'm just looking at.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch the air traffic now because you see a lot of different military vehicles moving around, and it's really interesting to see that happen. Not too many commercial flights anymore.
Well, let their dumbasses stay grounded and bankrupt finally. I'm tired of bailing out the stupid airline industry in this country every 5 to 10 years. That's an industry that needs nationalized and bankrupted. Now they want $29 billion in cash, 60 in total in guarantees and loans and interest rate reductions. They can just fuck off. Oh, and the cruise lines. They also want a bailout. Forgot about them.
Well, they're talking about using those cruise ships as temporary hospitals, and they're talking about using hotels. And I tend to wonder if the hotel ventilation system is any better than a cruise ship. I wouldn't think so, but maybe.
It's probably exactly the same, quite frankly, just on a smaller scale. Well, I mean, depending on the cruise ship and the hotel.
Yeah, it really can't be that bad. Otherwise, these hotels would have pushed it through their whole system. All the ventilation, all the rooms would have had this RNA flying around. In mass, apparently it's so contagious. I'm really shocked I don't have it, or I haven't had it. Maybe I do. I don't know. How scary to think that, you could have it, not show symptoms, which I know is, that's just even scarier. At any point in time, they could just say, well, you got it, and got to take you off to the quarantine. And there may be minor symptoms, not a problem. But they're acting kind of like this might be the end of the world. So we'll see. Maybe it will be, people. Maybe there's something else. And I don't mind delving into conspiracy theory because I can actually, listen to these ideas and maybe not believe them or accept them, but, listen to them. And I enjoy it a lot like sci-fi. So that's also entertaining to me to see the different theories go on. And one of them is that there's a meteor that's passing over on the 22nd of this month. And apparently they're saying it's going to be real, real close. And some people are saying it might explode in the sky. Kind of like Tunguska. So there's that conspiracy that they want everyone in before this thing, flies over and blows up or whatever happens. That we're kind of going through an asteroid field right now. And so there's that theory. There's so many theories. It's kind of interesting and important, I think, to even as a mental exercise, allow these kind of discussions to take place. So thanks for listening, guys.
Lyrids? I think it's the Lyrids. No, that's for April. We could always just do what South Korea did and ramp up production of a quick test and do drive-thrus, but we haven't. So again, I see this more as just general dysfunction.
There are several drive-thrus set up. What's happening is they're turning people away because they're getting so many people.
Yeah, they don't have the tests. Colorado shut it down within the first few hours of running it because they ran out of tests.
And the two companies out here are testing pretty frequently. There's LabCorp and Quest.
Let's see. Let's look up.
And if they're not testing, I don't understand how we can have so many cases pop up so fast, and we should see the effect before the test. Now that we have the test,
My favorite Nepalese listener. Welcome to Sherpa.
Hey, Sherpa, glad to have you here.
I'm just looking up test directories for Quest Diagnostics. There's their test directory. How's the industry over there? I know you guys were getting hit pretty hard by it. See if I can find it. Test code 39433, SARS-CoV-2 RNA qualitative real-time RT-PCR. One nasopharyngeal swab collected in a multi-microbe media. Yeah. What's their turnaround time? Looks like about minimum 72 hours. So South Korea does theirs in 15 minutes. We do ours in no less than 72 hours. And if anybody wants to look up the Quest Diagnostics test code for a COVID-19 test, though you can't find it under COVID-19, it's a 39433 test. So how are things in Nepal, Sherpa? Has your tourist industry completely collapsed as a result? Because I know you had said the last time I spoke to you that it was already drying up.
Will this work?
Will what work?
Let's find out. AirDrop. No, it doesn't like it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to presume you're there, Sherpa, and just listening but not able to type. No worries. All right, there's that. Gonna close that. The Goldman Sachs CEO got a 20% raise.
What came through?
He's now making $27.5 million. Okay. So what do we got? Yeah, from tomorrow, going to stop strictly long distance vehicles as well. So it looks like New York Post. I know New Yorkers have feelings about New York Post, but
Like they got
FEMA issues major disaster declaration for New York.
3,000 ICU beds are empty right now. 5,000 to 6,000 ventilators on hand.
8,000 cases confirmed.
They are testing. And a plus $42 billion.
At a 75-25 cost share. So the state's going to have to pony up as well.
42 billion. That's nothing compared to the 1 trillion it'll take to pay everyone $1,000.
That's they don't get the 42 billion. That's the nationwide pot they get access to. So they have to apply to get money out of that.
42 billion. It's really a drop in the bucket compared to the 1 trillion that it'll take to give every American $1,000.
Again, that money's already in the budget. I mean, that's not allocated out of next year's budget. It's allocated out of the current budget. So that money's coming out of the current kitty.
I'd like a little bit of that money.
So
42 billion. I'm just asking for like 1% of 1% of that. I'll help people.
Yeah, it looks like they're already about 75% full ICU beds. They only maintain 3,000 empty ICU beds at any given time.
Oh, kind of lines up with what he said, about 80% available.
So,
yeah. Confirmed.
And it looks like they've got, let me see. Yeah, it is. They're short on ventilators.
Yeah, only a couple. What was it, 5,000 left? 5 to 6,000.
That's estimated across the entire state. So they need the local health departments from the other townships and cities and hospitals to pony those up for New York. So we're talking about New York City.
New York City, right,
Yeah.
right. Not the state.
Yeah.
State doesn't get access to those ventilators.
Well,
It's the city.
the city's actually asking them to donate them. The governor is. He's saying,
They
notify
don't need them.
any health department in the state. If you have a ventilator and you're not using it at this time, or it's non-essential to your use, we want it. If you're a regulated health facility, that sort of thing. So yeah, those numbers are for the entire state, but we're talking about New York City in this instance.
How many ventilators does Las Vegas have, or the state of Nevada?
Probably far less, quite frankly.
We don't have such a big population. That's true. I bet we have a couple thousand.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. Vegas is small compared to the likes of New York, so that's.
So what they're doing right now is getting everyone to accept a new way of life. This is not temporary.
Let's see. So, let me pop over to that one.
Do not fear, though. You will be okay.
Well, statistically, you're likely to be okay. Unless you have
We will
comorbidities,
get
you're
through
fucked.
this. We will get through this, and you'll be fine. Everyone out there listening, take my word for it. And if not, you can come back and tell me. But I believe me, you're going to be fine. We're going to make it right through this. Your way of life has changed. They need it to be real painful. So you're willing to accept whatever solution they shove down your throat. But we're ready for them.
There are 53,000 beds in the system, but they've only got approximately 8,000 empty. Yeah, that's running near capacity. I mean, that's a large uptick, and you're fucked in that system.
In any system, no one is prepared for a large uptick at all. Not one.
That's our ICUs run to capacity all the time. That's fairly common in the Las Vegas Valley.
Hasn't been a large uptick like this, that's for sure.
Well, they've never had to deal with it, so.
Yep, so no one's prepared.
Trent.
But again, guys, nothing to be concerned about. You're going to be fine. There's a very tiny chance that you'll catch the flu or you'll catch one of these COVID things. It's fine. You'll be fine, though.
Again, unless you have any underlying conditions. We have
it's
one woman in particular who
alright.
has immunosuppression case that she takes drugs to suppress her immune system. She's got to stay the fuck indoors. She has no CD4 cells in her body.
If you think you're at risk for certain reasons, obviously, take it easy. I think you'll be okay, too. Honestly, you're going to be fine. You're all going to make it through this.
All right, so
I think the best thing we can do is maintain as many civil liberties as we currently have. Try to expand on those.
behave like fucking adults and wash your hands. That's what's going to be the impetus. You worried about your civil liberties? It's going to be a picture of some dumb teenager on the news doing beer bongs in Florida that is the impetus for the loss of your civil liberties.
Yeah, but the alcohol is going to kill that virus.
Yeah, that's not how it works. So behave like fucking adults and maybe you'll maintain your civil liberties.
Yeah. So no one can take the freedom that you have. Doesn't matter how much other people believe that. You're born with these freedoms, these certain things. It's not based on just the Constitution. You don't have, these liberties or freedoms based on a piece of paper. You were born with that, and so as we continue to explore and journey through this,
Trent's on, Glenn. Trent. Trent's doing Trent and KC. He's got Trent's random chat going right now, live. I wonder if Princess is with him. Thanks, Sherpa. Yeah, just throwing that out for you, Glenn. So I think Princess, I can't toggle over on this device, but I think Princess may be around. So
feels like we're coming up on a break.
Yeah, we're actually past it. So yeah, I may stream Trenton just to see if Princess is over there. So yeah,
Thanks for listening, everyone. I really appreciate it. And
have-
you can find our stuff at kaisthings.com.
That's not
Appreciate you.
window.
I appreciate you, and you.
all right.
Not you, but you.
So we've got the phosphorus bombs. Remember when chain of command and through and through. I will. Yes, for our YouTube viewers, you can watch the visualizer. Oh, you know what? I'll put that. Oh, no. I lost my copy paste. There we go. Put that in chat for anybody who wants to toggle over. And YouTube, and otherwise, right back.
I can recall the time when nothing of the kind seems to match the life we destined to refuse. I can recall the time, pull it from my mind, and my defense seems common sense that we would always follow through.
And welcome back. A quick break. I'm pretty sure Glenn went over to check on Princess. If you don't know who we're talking about, it's a bit of an inside joke from one of the many other live streams. So Sherpa, if you have a good connection, I want to talk to you again. Because we only had 5 minutes at the end of that stream, and it was really bad connection. I mean, I get it. You're in Kathmandu. So, I'm not surprised that we had a bad connection to start with. But I definitely want to talk to you. So when you get a moment, Sherpa, throw me a message. So let's see. I think, 3 states. So can I, wrong screen. There we go. Yes, there. Stop. Are we? I don't know if that just did something.
On YouTube?
No, on Podbean. I love Podbean. I absolutely adore this fucking.
Oh, we got a little bit of a reset happening here. A lot of people are calling what this virus is doing is a reset. I think that's an interesting way to put it.
All right, so that's the list. All right.
Thanks for sticking with us. If you're still listening,
No,
much appreciated.
I think it bumped a bunch of people, quite frankly.
It's the first time we've had this issue with Podbean, but still recommend if you're not watching on YouTube, check us out on Podbean. Misery Likes Company. You can catch all the rebroadcasts on kaisthings.com.
Yeah, that was
And
fucky. That was fucky.
we are getting back online, looks like.
I as near as I can tell, but I can't be certain, quite frankly. I mean, yes.
YouTube is good to go.
YouTube's been streaming the whole time.
No one's watching on YouTube. It's only our second broadcast. And we had a couple people drop in. It was nice to see Harry and my friend Josh. Everybody popping in.
Okay.
Harry's been with me for years now, for about 3 years. He's a good dude, and I met him in Atlanta, and a nice Bitcoin meetup. And Josh and I, well, we worked together from the year 2000, so we would know each other for 2 decades. Good people.
Yeah, no, it's up. It just booted everyone.
All right, I'm back on Podbean.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sorry about that, Sherpa. Podbean just did a Podbean. What are you gonna do? Yeah, it just booted everyone. But the stream stayed technically live, even though it booted everyone. So I don't know what that's about either.
We are back on track, though. Appreciate you guys checking in.
Yeah, maintained everything, but kicked everybody. So just a Podbean issue.
Meantime, we got to think of some headlines, or is it any fuckery going on?
Well, I don't know if this falls under fuckery or... Are you okay? Is that your dog? Can you get back?
Bad cop! No donut!
So, this is out of Carroll County, Georgia. Is a Georgia state trooper by the name of Anthony Scott was, quote unquote, flexing his above the law privilege. He was doing 91 in a 55 mile per hour zone. Not on his way to a call, of course. No official reason for driving fast. While traveling at that rate of speed, he slammed into a Nissan Sentra carrying 4 kids, killing 2, a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old. He's just been elected mayor.
So remember, people, if you've got some sordid past that you think might be holding you back, well, you know what? act like one of these psychopaths or sociopaths or whatever they are, and just forget about your past. And you can be whatever you want. Look at Ollie North. He was one of the biggest drug dealers, caused more death than you would know, and suffering. But he's on. People love Ollie North. This stuff just continues to happen. Where do we draw the line?
Dylan.
Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, he's been elected mayor of the city of Buchanan, which is in Carroll County, Georgia. He was uncontested.
Well, there should be a central database of all uncontested openings across the United States, and we should just be applying for them then and just do it, because apparently your past, we can have anything in our past. Who cares? You can go kill a whole family of 4. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that. He was elected. He was elected to city council 3 months after killing those 2 young girls, 16 and 17. And then he's just been elected as mayor.
Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay, I like the sound of that. So that definitely is a bad cop.
What the fuck?
Podbean. Looks like Podbean.
I'm literally over here. Why are you active? Okay. Jesus Christ, that window. Sorry. That window is just, I don't know,
I'm in the room and I'm confused.
pulling focus for some reason.
Wait a minute. It just showed something on the screen that you did not have up. You want to see it?
Yeah, you can. Oh, no, that's the, that was there technically.
Between- Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was there briefly. That's the beginning screen for setting up Podbean streams from the PC. It was,
So Podbean is acting up a little bit. Maybe their service techs are in quarantine, and these are the kind of things we're gonna have to start to deal with.
That was more Google Chrome.
Blame Google.
Anyway, welcome, grab 'em. Hey, Dylan. How's Taiwan? So, grab 'em. We were just talking about a cop that you would have loved this. Cop that doing 91 and a 55, slammed in the back of a Nissan Sentra, killed 2 young girls, 17 and 16. 3 months later, he was elected to city council, and now he's just been elected to mayor, as mayor of the town. Yay, Georgia. Exactly, grab him. Exactly. What are you gonna do? His name is Anthony Scott.
Unrelated to Michael Scott.
And the girls' names were Kylie Hope Lindsay and Isabella Elise Chinchilla. So Kylie was 17, Isabella was 16 at the time. He had no reason to be going that fast. He had no official cause for speeding. He was just doing what he did. Luckily, two of the people in the vehicle managed to walk away alive. So about a 50% kill rate.
I don't know about walk away, but they
they managed to crawl away,
how much they got in a settlement if they did it all. I'm sure the lawyers got paid the most.
Oh, they usually do. Grand jury. He was making use of a privilege. It did go on a dark highway. It did go before a grand jury. He was making use of a privilege that Georgia extends to law enforcement officers. The officer may choose to make a statement to a grand jury that is deciding whether to indict him on a crime. The statement comes at the end of the proceeding, and no one may challenge it or cross-examine the officer. Scott took advantage of that privilege and was the concluding witness before the grand jury. I can only imagine what he said. Yep. Okay, so they charged him. Second-degree vehicular homicide, 2 counts of serious injury by vehicle, violating oath of office, and 1 count each of speeding and reckless driving. However, during the trial, Scott's attorney asked for a mistrial, citing new evidence. The judge granted the mistrial while jury was in deliberation, saying the defendant's constitutional rights had been violated because the prosecution had withheld evidence of an alternative theory that had been discounted before trial. What alternative theory? he had a reason for doing 91 in a 55, because I mean he had no reason to do 91 in a 55, but
Yeah, if you want to know the real sovereign citizens, they're wearing blue, and all the weaponry that you could hope to have.
they hope to get it back before a jury, but I mean, good luck with that one. I mean, the dude's already fucking made his way through city council and up to mayor as a result of this nonsense. So, yeah, that's our bad cop no donut for this fucking week. Anthony Scott out of Buchanan, Georgia, Carroll County. He was a state trooper, but he decided to transfer over to mayorship.
It's a tough job, but someone's got to get the kickbacks.
Yeah, I did that. Fucking, yeah. He killed 2 young girls. NYPD got caught again in like a week. The same officer. This dude got caught planting evidence. This time he planted marijuana in the car. And I'm pretty sure it was cannabis the first time too. He got caught like twice within a short period of time. The first time the guy took a quick guilty plea because he had no idea he was dealing with a corrupt cop, and the second time he got caught on camera, placing on his own body cam as well as other camera, placing the piece of weed on the guy's center console and using that as the justification. I don't know if we have that guy's name.
I'm glad you bring up if we have his name or not. I guess that's kind of important, people. I mean, we can build a shit list.
The 2 officers involved are Kyle Erickson and Elmer Postron of the 120th Precinct in New York.
Couple names to add to the shit list.
They stopped the car for a minor traffic infraction, claimed the vehicle smelled like marijuana, and then planted marijuana in the car.
This is why if a cop asks you where you got your law degree, you just respond, I don't have my law degree, but I know my rights. And a lot of times, you give enough pushback, they'll back down. I've seen some great videos of people doing that. Maybe you can avoid that.
Costco.
And, it's good. It's good that there are people out there with cameras recording cops because they're a lot less likely to pull shenanigans.
Or just tell them where you got your law degree, because the rate they do this sort of shit, they probably hit a few. I mean, there's that one Uber driver who's an attorney.
There's a James Madison Audits on YouTube. He's got his law degree, and he's just so calm, cool, collected. He knows everything that he needs to say, and in almost every occasion, the cop will back down.
Grabham got his law degree at Costco. How much did they charge for that?
It's better than a Cracker Jack box.
Yeah, I'm just figure be an easy grab.
Costco, you can buy like a 3-pack. He said,
Yeah, I wonder. You get an international law degree, get a U.S. domestic law degree, and mix or match, like maybe like get a UK European sort of thing going.
UCC, you can get down with UCC. The whole law is kind of a joke. It needs to be proven to apply before you could apply it.
Oh, the MCU. Okay. Former NYPD cop who embezzled over $400,000 from the union, the MCU union, pleaded with a judge Wednesday to keep him out of jail, citing his charitable work for an Italian-American advocacy group, the Mob. The feds say it was part of his scheme. So yeah, he stole and laundered the money through a charity. And then he's using the charity as the excuse for the judge, like, hey, please don't send me to jail. I do work with a charity.
Typical.
Joseph, Guagliardo, Guagliardo. He fleeced the state's largest credit union. He laundered the money. It was a misguided intent and motivation in large part to financially benefit a true philanthropic organization. Yeah.
I don't buy it for a minute. I really don't. I think I don't know too many people, in my life that look for such power and you got to question those sorts of people. Now you know why. This isn't an isolated incident at all.
Oh, but he claims he's remorseful.
There needs to be safeguards in place.
Whoa, what was that? Hang on. Oh, he's only facing 5.5 years.
He won't see one day.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's only facing 2 years. The former CEO of the credit union is facing 5.5 years for embezzling $10 million from the credit union.
I've always thought if you're going to do a crime, boy, it better pay. But
Jesus
I
Christ.
don't know if that 10 million got too far. They usually catch the big ones.
10
Well,
five
you
and a
don't
half
hear
years
about
for
the
10
ones.
million. Yeah, not bad. I mean, a high-priced attorney, you peel off $2 million of that as cost of doing business.
Better call Sal.
Yeah, it'd be a good deal. Then John, welcome. Yeah, that was and where was it? The fucking ice one. Yeah. Dump that over. ICE raided a house. Judith, I forget who Judith's last name is. They raided this woman's house. ICE went in posing as doctors.
ICE.
Yeah.
The Immigration
Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Enforcement.
Yeah.
Enforcement class. There's the ruling class and there's the enforcement class.
I mean, they lived there for the doctor, her husband. Hello, her husband had lived there for 20 years, and I mean, they've raised their children, they've all that sort of thing, and ICE decides that the husband needs to go because new immigration policy basically dictates that he's no longer eligible, and so they raided their house. They gained entry to their domicile under the guise of being a team of doctors. I don't even know how you pull that off because there's no way those cowards are going in without body armor and weaponry, like doctor carrying an AR-15 and flashbangs and
Was this real recent?
It happened relatively.
Need a doctor? Was it maybe a coronavirus situation?
No, it wasn't that recently.
I'd like to see what happens here. If they find you have it, are they going to force you to quarantine in a their conditions or your conditions, or what they're going to do if you end up having it? But these cops aren't going to want to enforce anything after this coronavirus. So they got lucky with acting like a doctor. They couldn't do that today. I don't want to see a doctor. No thanks. I'm fine.
Yeah, Sanctuary DMV has organized the fundraiser for them. So it's DC. It's DC.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that they would do that sort of thing. I remember seeing a video, I think, on that very topic recently. It's
I don't
sad.
agree. I don't disagree, Denjon. I don't disagree. Yeah. So let's see. We have interesting. All right. So oh, lovely. Where'd this happen and when? Louisville, Kentucky. Relatively recently, end of last year, and we're just getting the FOIA video now. Lovely. 71-year-old Kentucky man. Police came to his house, threw him to the ground, and drug him outside. Oh, it's a crazy wife. It's a delusional crazy wife, and she called the cops and said that her husband had shot her in the head.
You're not going to get too many of those calls.
And, and the cops showed up and drugged this 71-year-old man to the ground and literally drug him outside the house and beat him. And meanwhile, the wife is standing there without a bullet wound to the head. And you'd think you might want to look for the bullet wound to the head amidst that activity, probably.
You would.
Maybe
anyone with
just a quick glance.
Over 95 IQ would.
Just a quick glance.
Yeah. Wouldn't take too, maybe even over 93 IQ. But they don't hire those kind of guys.
They have
one speed. Beat you up.
So yeah, eat the rich. Fucking, I need a list of all the idiot celebrities that participated in that Imagine video, so I can just put them on a permanent shit list.
There needs to be a shit list. Everyone should have their own shit list. We'll have to go over my shit list someday if you want to, or we can talk about our shit list. You know, I got a few people I wouldn't mind pointing at.
Well, that's what for shit profiles and shit fuckery are for. Although this week there's at least a couple fucking senators who deserve to be on the profiles of shit fuckery.
Now we go each by one by one, and they'd all be qualified.
I mean, Loeffler definitely deserves it. You know, Burr definitely deserves it. The attaboy, Denjon. Attaboy. It's been an interesting week as far as financial interference goes, especially at an SEC level. Oh, you got Feinstein on your list. Grab him. All right. I don't see Dylan having a list. Dylan, tell me if there's anybody on your shit list. You seem like too nice of a woman to have that sort of list going, quite frankly. But get angry, do it.
Anger is a gift.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd go with Loeffler. Just because she's the newest. Fuck it.
Do it.
Fucking things up, making everything shitty. It's profiles and shit fuckery.
Yep, Denjon, that's what I'm shooting for. This insider trading idiot would be Senator Loeffler. She's the newest senator. Of course, she's GOP. She just so happens to be married to the president of the New York Stock Exchange, and happened to be present at a intelligence briefing in the Senate about how everybody was going to react to the infection. And so she used a staged series of sell-offs to dump millions of dollars worth of stock.
What they say is that they have a management company that makes the decisions for them, so they're not involved in that part of it. It just so happened that's what happened. Insider trading is allowed for the senators and likely the governors too, I believe. So, because they're actually privy to a lot of emerging tech that's coming out as they go through the councils and all the, things that they talk about, regulation, things like that. So yeah, they're privy to a lot of information. They know when new products are going to be released and new things like that, and especially probably with military as well, because I think those are publicly traded companies. And
see, that's the thing is, it used to be. I was talking about this the other day. It was so once upon a time, it was an insider trading violation. The SEC would come in, reverse the trades, seize the assets, and charge them. That was a very long time ago.
I almost remember the name of the thing that they wasn't Glass. No, it wasn't Glass.
No, that wasn't Glass-Steagall.
It might have been around that time though.
And but then there was a stretch of like 4 decades.
It was Bush
where it was perfectly legal. That happened. They actually they undid that like back 80s? In the Reagan. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's right.
So then there was like 4 decades where it was basically perfectly legal for them to do. And then this thing, because I looked into it, the Stock Act got passed.
That's what it is. And
technically, this is illegal. Yeah, of course she went to prison for. I mean, not prison, club-fed prison, but Martha did her time. Denjon, she did her time like a fucking gangster.
She didn't come out with a tattoo though, so
she probably gave a few though.
I don't know the full experience.
She's more the tattoo type. She's more of the tattoo artist type. Yeah,
she's a top.
So technically, it is illegal. Oh my God, Sherpa, is your name Martha? I'm just, based on what just happened in chat, I'm
confused.
That would be funny.
What I can tell you is no one's going to get in trouble for this. This is more like just infotainment.
A member, officer, or employee of the Senate shall not receive any compensation, nor shall he. Maybe that's the clause she'll use. The law is literally written with a he in it, by the way. So we can go after Burr, but maybe not her. A member, officer, or employee of the Senate shall not receive any compensation, nor shall he permit any compensation to accrue to his beneficial interest from any source, the receipt or accrual of which would occur by virtue of influence improperly exerted from his position as a member, officer, or employee. So technically, it is illegal what they have done. It is again illegal what they have done. But I mean, again, don't look for that to be enforced.
Ruling class, okay? They're not accountable to the little people, to the nobodies in the world. They're the somebodies, and so they're not going to be held accountable. Ruling class is above the law, and they have their enforcers, their enforcement class.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, I love that
they're not
she's married to the president of the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
so many people had forewarning of this thing, and
how
they're just using her.
how
you know.
on earth? Well, I doubt she's being used very much. I mean, that's a fucking powerful family.
It's a news story that they're using to put in the news cycle for a little while and get people riled up. They don't just randomly pick which news story, because this was on national news. This is all over the news.
She and intelligence chairman of the Intelligence Committee, Senator Burr. He's the Republican senator who's the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He also dumped $1.6 million in stocks. He did it right after his meeting.
Yeah, there's two of them they're touting out. Yeah, because what happens is there's usually a fall guy, just like everything else. I mean, Bernie Madoff wasn't an isolated incident. He wasn't by himself either, So whenever they run these schemes, there's a whole thing involved. But at the end of the day, they're not going to be accountable to the same law we are. They write the laws. So just rewrite the law if they have to. I'm sure they'd be happy to write an executive order. But that's an important point to make. You see it happen pretty frequently. If you have the money to defend yourself, you get out of it. A lot of rich people kind of get caught, driving drunk, for example, and then they just pay, they forget about it, move on with their lives. Unlike a cop who's supposed to be sober and driving at within the laws, and the law should hold the police accountable. But this guy here killed two 17-year-old. I mean, come on.
And by all accounts, was sober doing it. I mean, you'd at least kind of get an excuse if you were drunk, right?
Yeah. No, well, he's high on his
Fair
Thortai.
Fair enough.
Been smoking that Thortai.
Yeah. Did you see the depressing picture Ellen DeGeneres posted?
I don't know if I
oh
want
yeah,
to.
she's
Show to the YouTube crowd.
Not really, because I don't want anybody to. Dude, Ellen without makeup, not a pretty sight, by the way.
Yeah, I wonder how Portia puts up with that.
Shit, are they?
Wow.
They're not. Are they still? They are.
As far
They
as
are.
I know. I don't know. What do I keep up with?
I wouldn't fucking know.
Recently.
Yeah, no, she took to fucking Twitter to put a series of pictures up to show how, cabin fever setting in for her, and people were like, "Yeah, I could only imagine how put upon you are in your multi-million-dollar mansion upon your multi-acre property with your fully staffed house. Yes, what a terrible inconvenience it must be to you to have to stay there."
Is that the moneyed class? What was it? The upper class?
Yeah, she's aristocracy.
She's not ruling class, but she definitely gets the benefits.
Yeah, the aristocrats.
Yeah.
They don't actually make a decision. They just benefit.
Was that a let them eat cake situation? Was that a let them eat cake?
I mean,
In a way,
yeah, I mean, okay. So one, Marie Antoinette did not actually say that particular line, but the sentiment stands. So we'll move past that. But it sort of. I mean, it's not really.
It's so hard for her in her freaking multi-acre
Yeah.
fucking mansion, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And she comes out. See, this is where the social engineering steps in. I have a lot
She
of
was-
questions about.
Well, she
Tom
was just
Hanks.
She was just a part of the entire Imagine crew that that put together the fucking song, and it's like every last one of them. You're like, I'm pretty sure every single one of you could peel off $1 million and not notice. And so, if you want to help, how about you stop singing at me in 5-second bursts, and you write a check to somebody who needs to buy some masks and some gowns and some ventilators, because that's what we need from you rich douchebags, not a fucking song.
So there's a lot of selfish actions kind of happening, I think, to a degree, but I think a lot of it is also kind of they're restricted. There's I know that if money, someone gives you money, you're supposed to claim that on your taxes as a gift or something, and if it's over a certain amount,
10,500.
yeah, it's just so it's crazy they can't even give a gift, and a couple $1,000s doesn't do much. But if you can walk up to somebody and here's
They
50,000,
could-
here's 100,000.
They could do it. It's just
it's-
it requires a different accounting set, but it's possible.
But even moving money around, I think, is a big issue. It takes time. I mean, I know with like house sales and things like that, where they have escrow and then they have this whole thing going on.
you call your bank manager when you have that large of an account. You call your bank
you
manager
have a direct
and you
line
say
to the guy. you
this
would
is
think.
what we're doing, and
But
it
I don't-
happens.
But I don't think they're just sitting there on a savings either. And it would change the whole formula of what their accountant is doing, and it's just a whole thing. Like they're kind of restricted, I think, to a degree. Not saying that there's any excuse, but people should really help. If you're financially in a position to help, then I really think you should help. When I was in a financial position, even when I'm not in a financial position
Welcome,
to help,
Bass Fix. Welcome, Katie.
I look to help people, and maybe it's to my detriment, but I just feel like if we help each other right here, right now, on the ground floor, we can change the world overnight. That's what we need to do. Just help each other.
Somebody took a picture of John Bon Jovi the other day. Somebody grabbed a candid of him because John Bon Jovi has a couple of restaurants, one in New Jersey, one in Philadelphia, and he's fairly famous. Anybody from Philly, John Bon Jovi has a fucking reputation. He was working the dish pit line at the restaurant because his restaurant is a pay-what-you-can restaurant. And so it feeds the homeless of the area. It feeds the downtrodden. It feeds anybody who's of lower income. And you pay what you can at his restaurants. And one of the kitchen staff grabbed a candid when John Bon Jovi was arm deep in the dish pit doing dishes because they needed someone to wash dishes at his restaurant. And, it wasn't on his Twitter profile. It wasn't any of that. It was literally just a candid shot of John Bon Jovi at his charity restaurant washing dishes. There you go. That's what it looks like. You want to spend your millions of dollars? You want to help somebody or something?
So there's two parts to the formula here, people. There's one part, adoring fan, putting you on a pedestal. And there's two parts. The second part is you getting up on that pedestal and being like, yep, you're right. I am different than you. I am likely way better. This is what, and people are like, yo, I'm way better. And they accept that.
And in his case,
Start
he's like,
acting like
fuck
it.
it. I'm equal to a dishwasher.
Well, why would you not? I don't care who you are. You have to step up and help where it is. And if again, that's another thing, that if you just stepped up and saw what was needed and stepped up and took care of it, or took the initiative, the whole world would change overnight. That's it. You just take the initiative. Be the one. It's okay. We try. Sometimes it works that way. Interesting story. I don't know if that is the most solid evidence of him being down to earth, but he seems really down to earth.
Oh no,
and
he's
so,
got a massive reputation from the Philly crowd.
So there's enough
dude,
out there.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
constantly like in the street feeding
kinda
people.
like,
He's constantly just like I said, he launched pay what you can restaurants for fuck's sakes, and bankrolls them. So
This whole pay what you can idea, guys, this is a revolutionary idea. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's a brilliant idea. Pay what you can. It's right in the name.
he's No, he wouldn't. I don't think Billy Gates has. I don't think he could. I don't think he could hop on the dishwash line and grab him. I think you'd probably spend more time instructing him on how to operate the faucet and shit like that than it would take to actually wash the dishes. So you just end up pushing him to the side and being like, yeah, you know what? Just get the fuck out of the way. I'm just going to do this myself.
Yeah, the guy isn't that special. He didn't create anything that special. He's not like I would give the guy, the creator of Linux, Linus Torvald, I think is his name. Yeah, creator of Linux. Linus Torvald should be a much bigger name. Kind of like the Tesla should be much bigger. Tesla name should be much bigger than But still, he I'm pretty sure he stole. He stole the operating system.
Well, I mean, it wasn't stolen.
Xerox.
It was given. No,
Yeah,
it was it was borrowed from Apple, who got it from Xerox. Apple got it from Xerox.
That's right.
And
So he's not even that special. The whole Microsoft thing was grown in a basement of a bank. I mean, he produced
his
it in a basement.
mom
It was in a garage.
His mom was on the board of directors of United Way with the chairman of IBM at the time.
Yeah, and his dad was up there too.
His dad was a successful attorney in the area. Not
Planned Parenthood, I think he was involved in.
not massively like I'm worth $20 million attorney, but he had a successful practice enough to easily fund a Harvard education. And mom happened to know the chairman of IBM and made a call over to IBM and said, "Hey, how about you guys cut my son a deal?" And so that's how the Microsoft platform ended up on the IBM platform.
Yeah, let's just decouple Gates from Microsoft.
Yes,
and
he is.
Let's just not put him on a pedestal. He's not the hero. He's not the
No, they had a
hero.
bunch of, and to their credit, they did cut in all those early, like those first 20 employees that did all the work.
Who is this? I can barely
Grab them.
grab him.
Yeah, I already.
You're-
That's what I said. Yeah, yes, he was.
Spot on, grab him.
Those original like 20-some engineers and programmers who did the vast majority of the actual work, they cut them in hard on percentages, and all of them are billionaires. So,
So what happens is they become the ruling class, and we get a system of governance as like we have now that doesn't necessarily serve the people, but it certainly serves the ruling class just well.
it just depends if you choose to seize the baton. I mean, Tom from MySpace is always my go-to example because he checked the fuck out. They handed him $580 million. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
That's what we're dealing with, bro. We living in it.
No, Camacho is the best president we could ever hope for. He recognized the smartest man on the planet. He recognized the problem that they were having. He paired them together, and he got out of the way and allowed him to fix it. He was the best president you could ever hope for.
Yeah. Vote Camacho.
Yeah, and so it's I mean, Tom got the fuck out of the way. $580 million is that payday out of MySpace, and he's a fucking travel photographer.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like, good
so-
luck with that. I don't want anything to
Yeah.
do with this bullshit. I'm out.
He said, "Get your money and get out," and he got his money and he got out.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You don't hear about most of them,
He-
but it happens pretty frequently.
He
I'm
wasn't
sure.
interested in being anybody's boss. He just was like, oh shit, I don't ever have to worry about a thing in my life ever again. So he tapped. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly, you don't have to seize the baton. It's just most people tend to seize the baton. And so, but I mean, there are good examples. It's Tom from MySpace, John Bon Jovi, running fucking kitchens and, washing dishes because fuck it,
Elon Musk decided not to take the baton.
Oh, Elon Musk was born with the baton.
Yeah, a silver one.
Silver, fucking gem encrusted. South African gem mines, baby. That's how Daddy made his money. No blood on those rocks.
Yeah, so the ruling class is kind of the bigger issue. I think the wider issue we see here, whether it's we're talking about good cop, bad cop, or we're talking about senators, governors doing insider trading, or these draconian measures to lock down the entire United States. And what will spawn from that, and how will life be different on the other side of this? That's one thing people aren't talking about. What is the exit plan? How do we wind back up? Because we're winding down is taking time. As you can see, the store shelves are, becoming more empty, and everyone's kind of, winding down from what was happening in normal life, average life, day-to-day life. And now, after this is done, we've got to wind back up, and that takes time. It takes additional money, funds, and things, energy to kind of wind things back up, and we really want things to return to normal. That's what everybody wants, right? But there's going to be barriers to entry, barriers to get back to normal, and that's why I like talking about, okay, what's it look like on the other side of this? So clearly we know there's an 18-month issue in front of us. What transpires in that 18 months, whether it be war, or civil war, or world war, or any kind of other disturbances that happen in the meantime, we don't know. But what do we look like on the other side of this? Why don't we have an exit plan? Why don't we say, okay, 30 days and reevaluate, isn't enough. We need 30 days, and these are the factors we're reevaluating. This is what we're looking at. Because if they don't end the quarantine in 30 days, they don't reopen things back up in 30 days, and I don't anticipate that to happen. I see the lockdown kind of continuing until the president finally announces it. And he'll announce one for 30 days, and it will be a quarantine, and there will be in the enforcement class out there, the bootlickers out there that'll just do whatever he says. So it's going to become more dangerous times. And if they ever do go door to door, and they ever do start forcing any kind of testing on you, or heaven forbid, asking what kind of firearms you might own, these are the kind of steps that we want to watch for, because we want to see how we're going to end up on the other side of this. And that's just an interesting thought experiment that I'll be working on, and you'll hear more in the future episodes of the way I think we will exit out of this mess. And it's starting to trend now. We're starting to get a little bit of an idea. China's saying they're not reporting new cases. Kai, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think China has 0 cases? 0 new cases?
There's no way to measure that metric.
I don't think there's a chance on Earth.
There's just no way to measure that metric.
I'm excited to find out.
They can make the claim, but
I'm excited to find out. Sounds good to me. China lying, yeah. Grab me. You know what's up, man. You know what's up. And how long? How long have they been doing that for? An eternity. Like as long as I can remember. It's a closed society in China, so they can pretty much say whatever they want. And I think they'd like to have it a closed society, for the whole. That means, state-run media, state-run everything's really not a good look. What are we looking at? NPR.
Oh, they're marketing.
Yeah, I'll get it through to you. Right now. Try.
They're claiming that they've marked their 5th consecutive day.
5 days, they say now? 0 cases?
Because I didn't write the software. Sorry, grab them.
Yeah, right. It's your fault.
Because that's the Podbean app. File a fucking contact support. Contact support.
They need to improve in a few different areas.
The hosts can only do so much. We can only tell them so many times and trust us.
Call your congressman.
We've told them.
Tell them we're not going to accept any kind of craziness. If
but
we decide to escalate this thing. We'll go as far as quarantining.
The users need to contact the company
at our own will. I'm talking about 2 different things here. But while you're contacting support at Podbean, also contact your all your other connections. And especially the people that's, willing to shoot you in the face because they don't like where you're standing or something.
You can, it doesn't even have to be copy and paste. Just tell them to make a clickable link, and that would fix a lot of your issues. But copy and paste would also be useful as well. So if you want to mention that. I don't know what that...
Shim? Shim?
Oh, auto join shitten. I don't know. We were just telling them to.
What's up, Glenn?
Did Chris? We were just talking about the copy paste, clickable link nonsense of Podbean,
and we were talking about other things. At least I was.
So let's see. We M. Well said. Grab him. Well said. Swilf. Are you guys going live? I refreshed the list up here to see if you guys were going live.
Random couple show going live, it looks like.
Oh,
yep.
What's up, Nene?
Lots of interesting stuff on the Random Couple show.
Say hi to Christina for me.
Hi, Christina. Oh, Sherpa's back.
The Sherpa. There is only one. Later, Gun.
Peace.
Yeah, there is but one only. Hey, Bruce. Things still looking good in Minnesota?
Crazy motherfucker.
Yeah. Because their shelves aren't empty. Their shelves aren't destocked. Yeah. They're fine. He's done the rounds. They've been fine the whole time.
Good. No need for a quarantine.
So what are you up to today, Bruce? Anyway, grab him. You still owe me a call. Just saying. It was quiet time the other night. Not disagreeing. But I also still say you owe me a call. Yeah. Did you catch the? How long have you been listening to podcasts, Bruce? There we go. All of today. Did you catch the truth guy? 'Cause Glenn caught him, and I didn't go in when I saw him. Oh, okay. Look for a podcast title of the truth, not an account name. Apparently, it's worth going in and having some fun. Let's see who's live right now. Cassiano's still going because they're doing the sea turtle thing in conjunction with Cracks, the Talking Corner for anybody who doesn't know. And who else? And QTNN Drive Overdrive, Q Tennessee, I believe is what it's short for. But yeah, there's a couple of others. Looks like Aaron's off the air finally. Look at him. It's because it's 1 a.m. for him. All right. So grab him. When am I going to get that call? And Bruce, feel free to call in as well.
Yeah, Mike, anyone out there listening, in
it
fact.
It says file being processed. For how long? Because it does take a while. Their file processing does admittedly take some time. Well, some of their file processing takes some time.
Yeah, if you'd like to call in, anyone out there listening, love to hear from you. Mike, if you got time, I don't know if you can
Was
talk.
it your live stream? Are you attempting to download your live stream? Yeah. I grab them. I don't fucking know. I haven't seen them. Okay, so the live stream processing takes a bunch of hours, Mike. That's just the way it works. Sleep well, Bruce. Twitter. Let's see. I didn't know that he was missing. Night, man. Hey there, Mike.
What up?
So
What up, Mike?
really,
Thanks for calling in.
You okay?
Yeah, you can. Sounds good, man. How you doing tonight?
Good. Chilling.
let's see if I can crank you a little bit.
Good.
Oh, it's it has to do with the debate. Apparently, grab him. Like he did so poorly in the.
What are we talking about?
Well, chat. Look, it.
It doesn't say anything in here.
Yeah,
Look,
no.
look.
Grab him asked, "Where's Joe Biden?"
It's honestly, there's no.
Yeah. Grab him asked, "Where's Joe Biden?" And he said, "Rip Joe is trending on Twitter." And it's he's not
there. I see. Where's Joe Biden? There we go.
and he's not actually dead. But they're saying that like the debate went so poorly for him.
Who, for Biden?
Yeah.
There was a debate.
Yes.
I'm sorry I missed it. I must not be good at democracy.
He
Watching.
Joe Biden was a great American. Rip. #rip Joe Biden.
This whole system's collapsing. This is we may not see another presidential election for a while. This is just silliness right now that they're pushing this guy of all people. Mike, you did a great job on your show. I really hope it uploads. It's definitely worth a listen. You put together some great information. If anyone's out there listening, Guitar Mike has a podcast. Check him out. Is it Guitar Mike 93? And you also have a YouTube channel.
It's called Mike's Mood, Mind of Music.
Mike's Mood, Mind of Music.
Let me check the easiest way for Podbean to find it.
And the point of your podcast was
Yeah.
that Biden is a...
Yeah, just use Mike's Mood and you'll find him.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Basically,
Yeah, go and give me a little
the
brief.
first one is domestic policy.
The racist policy.
4 sections.
Yeah, the racist, the criminal, was it prison industrial complex, the warmongering, or the creepy touchy stuff?
You know, it's funny because
Oh, that was the Podbean search.
I compiled this whole list of different bills and stuff that Joe Biden's either wrote or voted for
Dastardly
or
bills.
or endorsed, and I think I should have done more. I'm gonna have to do a whole section on just either corruption or lying, because there's too much. It's like I'm trying to have like a storyline going with it, you know.
Yeah.
There's too much to talk about.
Miniseries.
There's so much.
Yeah, turn it into a miniseries. Biden definitely is a little cuckoo. That's the best analysis I can give you on it. I'm looking at Kai over here, and he's surfing through some. I keep seeing these pictures of people with masks on, and I just keep getting this thought. You know, everyone's gonna want to start wearing masks here soon. It's just gonna completely change the entire culture. I can't imagine it. I was thinking about the games they play with the social engineering and the way they put things to people and how they get people to do what they want. And I think telling people that their mask won't help is part of the whole program, because so many people came out very critical of that and showed studies where, you know, their mask could be helpful here and there, this and that. But it's just not part of our culture at all. I know it's part of it in China and other cultures that really they kind of need it because the air pollution. But it's going to be unusual how life will change on the other side. And I don't know if Biden is going to be that guy to take us to the next phase of what's happening here. So, you know, I'm going to put out a far out prediction. I think Obama's going to come back. That's my prediction. Stuff that one in your pipe and smoke it.
I hear people talking about Joe Biden might have Hillary as his VP. He said he was going to have a woman as his VP, but nobody knows who it is.
That's crazy talk, but I could see it happening.
And she literally worked her way
was
into
weird.
this. She didn't have enough with 2016. She lost to an orange clown, and she wants another shot at it to further embarrass Democrats.
Oh, he's so full of dementia. Yeah, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to put him up. They can't go Bernie styles. Although I think they do like what Bernie's saying. Some people, maybe not the billionaires, but I think there are some people that love to see this socialist stuff take over and just let's pay for everything and it'll be free. Nothing's free, and we really should stop using that word.
It's not what socialism is about. Let's not use the incorrect terms.
We know what people are trying to do.
Socialism technically is like where workers own the means of production, right?
Yeah, you're much closer. Yeah, it's a reorganization of the high, power structure in a system of governance. So capital owners would be at the bottom rather than being at the top, and the workers would be at the top rather than being at the bottom.
And so essentially, isn't that what Donald Trump is proposing by having these bailouts buy portions of the stock in the companies? That American taxpayers would essentially own the parts of these Wall Street banks and shit?
No, because you don't get a vote. You don't get a voting share.
But couldn't they then use that to like fund Social Security or something like that?
I mean, theoretically yes, but nothing would stop them from using Social Security as a slush fund, just like they already do. So, yeah, no, you would. There's no real bolt-on method for socialism in our society. It takes a proper reordering, and you have to address the economics first. Capitalism is the underlying problem. It's the hurdle in which you would need to clear to achieve that goal. So yeah, no, it's basically wresting control away from investors and CEOs and ownership class. And so you would have to basically reorder our economic system and how we view things as a society. Because, I mean, that's, you know, that's at Amazon. Let's just use Amazon for an example. Jeff Bezos wouldn't really get a say. What you would do is you'd have to poll and have a direct democracy vote amongst the workers. And if the issue requires any sort of special knowledge or investigation, you form a committee, and the committee then reports back to the proletariat, to the workers, and then the workers make that decision.
And their argument against that would be that the workers wouldn't be productive for the business, and that the business could be more productive if there's someone, demanding.
Because every co-op that's ever existed failed. Because that's what you're talking about, essentially.
Employee owned.
Yeah.
I like the idea of employee owned. There you go. Then you're not an employee, really.
The easy lens to see that through is just cooperatives.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what socialism is about. It's about a reordering of the economic system to serve the workers and empower the workers rather than the capital class.
There was a bill or some kind of law that was put down recently. We were talking about the CEOs, every benefit that they get, all the workers get. So if it's stock options, then all the workers get stock options. If it's whatever it is, a bonus, then everybody gets a bonus. And I worked for one company that was like that, and it was glorious to do that because it enriched everybody. And I'll tell you what, the way people worked at that place is different. It's different than anything I've ever experienced before. It was really incredible. Never experienced it since then. But stock options are really, being treated like a CEO. We should all have that. We should all have a taste of that.
Well, that's socialism. I mean,
it's greed right now. But yeah.
I know, but I mean, that's,
stock buyback.
Socializing costs and socialism are two separate things. And the American media and the American lack of educational system has taught people that those two things mean the same. And it doesn't work that way. There's more often than not under socialism a socializing of costs because that's the logical thing to do. That's how you pay for big ass projects. Is you say, hey, let's all just kick in on this one.
You pay for everything with other people's money, though, right?
Well, are you going to buy a battleship? I ain't got that cash. I mean, that's, how it works.
Socialism isn't required for battleships, though.
Well, I mean, but that's the sort of Hoover Dam.
If you look at it, those companies that build the battleships, that's a socialist, right? They get subsidized to the nth degree, right? They pay little taxes.
It is a socialistic funding.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It's fucking wrong.
So, I mean, the Hoover Dam, the Tennessee Valley Authority, I mean, any of these big projects, you have to socialize the costs. There's no singular group that's going to be able to foot that bill, and if they can foot that bill, you probably don't want them involved in the first place. So,
which is good as long as they're not like pointing a gun at you and saying we'll shoot you in the face if you don't pay us.
Oh, again, I have less faith in the American electorate. They would have to be re-educated.
They're already talking about re-education camps. You should jump on board with that.
They'd have to be re-educated.
That could be.
How many fucking people in this country use the word socialism incorrectly?
What's on the other side of this?
I mean, that's...
Well, yeah, anytime someone says something free, that's incorrect. Let's stop there, because that's not how that works.
Well, I mean, but...
Nothing is free.
People say that all the time about fucking Bernie's policy. He's trying to, give out free this and free that, and he never uses the word free.
Yeah, funny how the media would twist it then,
or
whoever's twisting it.
Can be free.
Of course they can.
The Wall Street bailout, and they gave $1.5 trillion.
Socialism for the right people.
To all these banks, and then what they said, they asked them, "How did you come up with all this money without raising taxes?" They said, "We went into the computer and we marked up the account."
Yeah, no, I mean it's all digital.
That's called modern monetary theory. They just invent the money.
Like they did. They invented money, and then they enslaved people with it. So we got that going.
So I think that things can be free if they want them to be.
No, there's a cost to everything.
Well,
especially battleships.
Financial transactions, now anything that has a resource and a labor cost, there's a cost. But anything that is...
there's an energy cost. It costs me right now just talking.
But things that we made up, financial transfers, I mean, sure, there's a cost, but it's in the billionth of a penny cost territory, which
should be more realistic.
Negligible. Yeah. And,
the ambulance rides in other countries are really inexpensive, like $60 or something. It's really just, it's almost nothing. And then here, how much is an ambulance ride? It's like $1,200.
Thousands.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've seen up to 3,000.
Yeah, if you get a saline bag or something, it's another. It's just water. Here's some saline water, but now it's going to charge you another $600. Something. It's insane. They're
and if you
literally
get a-
greedy.
If you have to get airlifted, oh my god.
Yeah,
You're-
it's
you're talking
literally
about
greed.
Hundreds of thousands.
But there's enough on Earth for all of us. There's definitely enough money, but they don't. The people at the top don't believe that. They don't. They want control. And this whole virus lockdown is a good way for them to implement a lot of these sort of things.
Okay, so I don't know when this grab them. I don't know when this Rip Joe thing started, but it started relatively far back enough for people have been doing graffiti tags and stuff memorializing him.
Well,
So, yeah, it's trending. It's trending, and so yeah, apparently people are demanding hashtag Where is Joe because they want to know where the fuck he is. Like, get on camera because you might be dead. Yeah. Now the money thing is made up. I mean, that's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. It's math. It's not. It's numbers on a sheet. And I mean, I at least can come mildly to the defense of the $1.5 trillion transfer because it isn't actually a bailout. And if you use that in a debate with any fucking economist, they'll slam you to the wall with it. It is a temporary loan to enable financial and stock transfers. But the money did come out of essentially thin air, which underlines your point in that matter.
Yeah, it's money. The kind of, the economic system does seem like slavery with extra steps. It really kind of keeps people. It's like the slaves now pay for their own homes, their own food. You don't have to, do all of that, and the whole country becomes plantation. As long as they control the money, they don't care. And so that's part of it.
Sorry. Broke down in tears when I heard he died doing what he loved, trying to open a PDF. Fucking
Biden.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, this is, people are just having a fucking time with him. You'll truly be missed. All the innocent, you'll truly be missed by all the innocent Iraqis dead under false pretenses, so your war profiteer buddies could make a quick buck. The black folks you locked up with the crime bill, students who can't file for bankruptcy, and everyone you banned from having raves. Hashtag Rip Joe Biden.
R.I.P. Joe Biden. We need to add that to a certain list. A shit list. That's a good song, by the way, too.
Oh, is that because I saw somebody mention that? Apparently, his last crowd had that many people in it.
Nobody. I think democracy has failed.
2,
There's
4,
nobody
6,
in there.
8,
This is the front
10,
runner.
11.
11 people. It's the front runner. Democracy has failed, people. Get over it. There's a better system. Let's move on.
That's sad.
Democracy is over.
Again, direct democracy utilizing an anarcho-socialist framework, but people aren't prepared for that.
Democracy as we know it has come to an end, people, whether you realize it or not. They've got people so heavily indoctrinated that they don't believe it. They don't realize it.
Well,
but-
again, I would have to re-educate the populace if we were going to enact anything. And everybody's so afraid of re-education, but the fact is you got educated and it was wrong. So we need to re-educate you now.
You can call it deprogramming. Mike, what do you think about that? Deprogramming?
right.
What do you think about the quarantine, Mike? I'd love to get your thoughts on that. Are you feeling okay in the quarantine? You feel like it's going to escalate? What are your thoughts on the quarantine?
It's a weird thing in California. I'm sure you heard the governor just announced that we're at a stay-at-home order right now.
They're
But then
ordering you. It's an
they're
order.
saying
This
that
is an
they're
order.
not going to enforce it.
They are going to
So
enforce
How is it
it.
an order if they're not enforcing it? That doesn't make any sense.
They're
to me.
going to enforce. That's why would they lie and say they're not? That's the funny part, because you know they're going to
That's
enforce it.
So weird. It's
You know they're going to
the
enforce
weirdest
it.
thing ever.
So what that means is
Everybody that I know basically is still working. So
good or bad or otherwise.
brother.
Good or bad or otherwise, you're on house arrest. That's what that means. And the logical conclusion of it all, if you break house arrest, they'll shoot you in the face. They'll just do it.
Howdy, Chris.
So, very interesting, Mike. I really wish you lots of luck out there in California. You got maybe now's a good time to get set up a good hobby or a good something you can accomplish in the next 18 months, and work at it. You got some time on your hands, apparently.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do a Biden miniseries, fucking now's the time to hop on the bandwagon with this Rip Joe Biden trending. He's hot in the news.
Right.
Yeah, your thing tonight was great. Your deal, your
I'm
coverage was great.
I'm gonna have to go more in depth though. I'm gonna have to dive into each one. I dived into each one of the little acts that I talked about, but I really need to get more into the corruption side of it. Just basically look. It almost sounds when I read it, it almost sounds like it came from some kind of anti-Joe Biden website, but it's just basically it's all off of like Wikipedia and like a couple other places. That's it.
The 90s were a interesting time for his political career. You'll spend a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, when Clinton was president, he did all kinds of shit that was fucking wacko, dude.
Yeah, well, once we give people a position of power, you can kind of expect them to take advantage of that. But it's not just Clinton; it's the whole Clinton administration and whoever his handlers were, and whatever else is going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. But I'm glad to hear you're holding up good in the quarantine.
Oh, grab him.
Yeah, we're holding up here.
Grab him says, Corona isn't Trump's fault. Ebola wasn't Obama's fault. SARS wasn't Bush's fault. Some herpes cases actually were Clinton's fault, though.
Not that I can go back in. Podbean kicked me out. Can't go back in and read that. But interesting. That's funny. Grab him.
We got Chris in Maryland here. So what's it looking like there?
Yeah, man. How's Maryland treating you? Is the governor ordering you around? Do you think he's better than you?
I haven't seen, I mean, no offense, but your state is like 3 seconds in travel time. I haven't seen much out of them. Okay. Oh, we're refreshing to a different page.
149, it looks like. 149, top of the page there.
Yeah.
Is that infected or dead?
Confirmed cases.
You've got 149 confirmed COVID cases there in Maryland, and they must be taking extreme action.
They're all in Montgomery County.
Don't forget, everybody, boys and girls out there listening, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. Do not forget. So how is Maryland treating you? I can't wait to see. Hopefully you're typing up a nice deal, because I'm real curious. If you'd like to call in, by the way, we're absolutely open to call-ins. If anybody's into it.
No, looks like they just shut down some of their stuff, like St. Patrick's Day celebrations and bars and sit-in restaurants. But
I'm sad that nobody remembered St. Patrick's Day. Like, it just got shut down. Vegas was dead on St. Patrick's Day.
yeah,
It's usually
and confirmation
loaded.
from Chris, no shelter in place. Restaurants, bars, malls.
Oh,
Malls are still a thing. That's
closing
funny.
it all down. Well, malls won't last after this. They'll probably be repurposed.
You guys have casinos.
Yeah, your casino's closed before ours. I think a lot of the casinos closed before ours, I think.
We're in Vegas.
But the casinos are closed, but the hotels are open. Although the spas are closed, the nightclubs are closed, the bars are closed. Crazy.
And
even the Indian casino. See, I was wondering about that. I know that 30 days is a long time, and there's Indian smoke shop out here, and they said they weren't closing. And I don't know how they can be considered essential, but they should be. I don't understand how people are going to get the tobacco they need, for example. Could you imagine having to go pay $7, $8, $9, $10 at a gas station for one pack that'll last you who knows how long a day? That's crazy. Yeah, the Indians should not have to shut down. They don't want to, I guess.
It says the hotel operation shut down as well for MGM.
Oh, well, they're trying to. Yeah, they probably had to, unwind it because people were already in the hotel when they shut down. Because it happened so fast, people. The governor came out and ordered this whole shutdown thing, And then, there were still a lot of people that were staying at these casinos. So I think in due time here, we're going to start seeing casinos shut their exterior lights off. All their outside lights are going to shut off, and the Las Vegas Strip is going to completely be transformed. So I'm looking forward to getting video footage of that. As of now, there's very few cars on the road. Again, leaving me concerned that I might run into a member of Blue ISIS, being one of the only people on the road. Speaking of that,
Sands is closing as well.
they're all closing, as far as I know.
Caesars isn't closing their properties.
There's nothing to do. Oh, their buffets are still open. They're just taking extreme measures.
Yeah,
for the
no.
buffet.
Bally's, Caesars Palace, Cromwell, Flamingo, Harrah's, Link, Nobu, Paris, and Planet Hollywood are all still open. Caesars has said multiple times they're taking precautions, but they're not closing.
Oh, good. Good for them.
Yeah, it's Adelson's properties, it's Wynn's properties, and it's the MGM properties.
All globalists. All of them.
Presently, Chris, it's still lit up. But shortly, we'll see. I mean, again, Caesar's properties are not closing, so, they'll keep their lights on, which will make it interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, we're looking at apocalyptic kind of scenario. If there is anything interesting to see, I'll be driving down the strip to check it out.
But,
So I'll get some footage.
MGM, for those of you who don't know, is the Aria, Bellagio, Delano, Excalibur, Luxor, MGM Grand, the Mandalay Bay, the Mirage, New York, the Nomad, the Park MGM, the Signature, and Vidara. Those are all of the MGM.
I don't know why they would remain open. There's really nothing for people to do. Usually it's shopping and restaurants and bars and nightclubs, and we have none of that right now. So I can't imagine they're even doing a full staff.
Yeah, things are kind of crazy down here too, man. You have been to the Walmart down here, Groove, dude, so you kind of know how it is normally, but dude, it's straight apocalyptic right now. There's nothing in there. Most of the whole store is just empty.
Yeah, the warehouses aren't shipping food to the stores now, it seems like. There was already a food shortage in progress. I think the final goal is to remove meat from people's diets. So I don't know, where it's going to go, but there's already going to be food shortages, and this virus is a great cover story to make sure that people, are able to say, well, this is why there's no food. And honestly, there was already before this. So looking at Nevada for you here, Chris, and to answer your question, how long will this last? You're looking at about 18 months. And looking up for Nevada, I'm not sure
What did they say that
how
it
many
was
cases
gonna
we
be
have.
like 96 million people that they estimate are going to get it in the next year?
Yeah, they're estimated. They're
50 to
estimates.
60% of the population.
They don't really know. These are just ballpark figures.
That's what the head of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy said.
I know. With a big name like that, how could they be wrong? 126
but
126
that's what I
cases.
heard that.
126 cases here in southern Nevada, is what they're saying.
Oh,
And that's as of 6 hours ago.
I looked him up in chat.
Oh, was it 106?
No, it's 126.
Oh. So within 6 hours, it's gone up 20. For whatever freaking reason. Trust those numbers.
I'm looking at that video. Grab him, by the way.
Oh, what do we got?
It's just a compilation. It's a super cut.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, he's going senile. He's absolutely got dementia or whatever it is, and they don't care. There likely won't be another.
He said that he was running for the Senate.
Yeah.
The new normal. No, let's not accept this. The new normal. Let's get back to normal. Let's not overreact. Let this thing pass and move on with our lives here. We'll patch up what we need to patch up after this is after this passes. And Brave New World, exactly. Brave New World Order, right? Going from OWO to NWO.
Oh, we had that discussion one night. Grab him. Yeah, there we go. Good. Okay, Good. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's a solid mixture, and they knew each other. They used to write back and forth to each other. There's a couple of really good published letters between the two men.
Partially why I call this a planned-demic. Event 201. Look it up.
My favorite is the end, near the end. Grab them. Go to Joe 30330. Okay, Joe. Not a fucking website. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. What are you gonna do? I don't have words for him. He shouldn't. I mean, it's some form of elder abuse, right? Like it's some form of elder abuse.
Yeah, you mean basically the establishment forcing him into this position?
Yeah.
He's got dementia and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Clearly, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He doesn't even know what he's running for.
Chris, you hit the nail on the head, bud. Don't walk around in fear. Not the way to live. Even if you're a little
that's what
girl.
I keep wondering about too, So many people who are going to get sick from this and potentially die, and it's like the weirdest time right now.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
gonna be their last days. Everybody's all freaking out.
This is not. They've really done some good predictive programming with Walking Dead, and they've done some good just programming in general, getting people all hyped up on things. So, when it comes to virus, people are so, overly nervous that it's kind of sad. But look, at the end of the day, there's a ton of viruses. This will pass. There'll be another virus. We just got to move on with life.
Yeah, that's what they said about HIV too. My long time friend.
I didn't say that.
Oh shit! The Reagan era propaganda surrounding HIV was epic.
And if you think about it,
Pence wanted to pray the gay away.
Yeah, and the HIV.
He wanted to pray
What's that?
HIV away.
Oh Lord, Dave, I don't even know where to start with that. You just walked into a podcast hosted by an anarcho-socialist. So if you'd like to have a conversation, I'd love to have one. I'm not a liberal, though. So, I mean, if you make that distinction, we're cool. But a statement like libtards are the terrorists of America, I'll fix the grammar, I think there's a conversation to be had there. And, yeah, grab them. Great find on that video. Some of the quotes, Mike, Guitar Mike, you should do an episode of just the crazy quotes. Like, honestly, you're going to spend 15, 20 minutes of just, like, crazy fucking words that have fallen out of that man's mouth.
Yeah, I figured I'd do that, and then one just on the lies he's told. Because the fucking guy, he's been caught lying 1,000,000 times. He lies about fucking everything.
tell me something new about a politician.
I know, but it's like, it's like a record.
Yeah, he sets the bar.
Everything he says, he's a pathological liar. Everything he fucking says is a lie.
Pathological liar with who's running for president with dementia.
Well, he's got that Cheney syndrome. Like, you can show him a video.
No, I didn't say that. What do you
No,
mean?
no.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's got that Cheney syndrome. Like, he's literally like, here's a recording of you saying something. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Like, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I do. I firmly do. I think it's a form of elder abuse, and he's just being taken advantage of at this point. And then we sort of have to discount, like, 2000s and 90s and 80s and 70s Joe Biden, we can criticize firmly and rightly so. I think 2020 Joe Biden, I don't think we can really criticize that much. I don't think it's him. I mean, how much do you criticize someone whose brain is addled with dementia and is basically being pushed out on stage by a fucking handler at that point?
You can see his attitude. It's very cocky. You know, he very much has that arrogant, attitude. You can really see that he's
the
so
ego
proud of himself.
The
you
ego
know?
stays intact through a lot of the
Yeah,
early
It
dementia.
has. It really, really has. And so that's what they're depending on.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him more than anything else. I really do.
Well, I feel sorry for every American and every worldwide, everyone in every country, every human on Earth. I feel bad for
It's just,
every human on Earth. You poor people. What is going on? The COVID might save me from having to watch you continue to suffer. It's nuts. What are you doing? Stand up for yourself.
And grab them. The poor kids. Man, that was such a cringeworthy quote. Oh, poor kids are just as smart as white
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, that was.
He said that.
Yeah, oh yeah. He
That
said
was recent in the debate tonight, huh?
No. That
No,
happened a few months back.
I don't remember hearing that one. That's incredible, but that doesn't surprise me. Guy's starting to lose it. Although, funny how we think it's pretty clear that he's going senile and got dementia, but imagine that people will still vote for him. Figure that out. Figure that out. Front runner.
Nice. That's not as fun though. The 150 million people killed by gun violence since 2007.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's
Really got to think about that one.
that's a
That
hell of a number.
That bullet's still traveling around, by the way. That's why we have to self-quarantine.
Oh,
It's still
shit.
killing
No.
millions of
That's the
Americans.
magic JFK bullet.
That's it. Yeah.
Because,
Still going
it's
around.
been just traveling this whole
Tell you what.
time.
Yep.
It's always been one bullet.
He knows.
Dave,
What do we got from Dave?
Biden and son belong at Gitmo, Cuba. I understand the sentiment,
Yeah, I
but
hear
can
it.
we get rid of Gitmo, Cuba entirely? That'd be great. Can we get rid of the extrajudicial infinite detention center outside of our domestic areas?
NDAA. NDAA.
Well,
right?
that's
was that part of it.
It would be covered in it. If you wanted to get rid of it, you'd handle it in the NDAA probably,
I think so.
because you could eliminate its funding.
That's habeas corpus, no?
Not so much, because it's the exact opposite, because it's off of our domestic land. It's literally in another country. Yeah, it's a loophole for that sort of thing. So laws, rules, and that sort of thing doesn't apply down there.
Oh, they don't apply? You mean laws and Constitution doesn't apply? You can prove that?
It's in Cuba.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's why we just put it over there, and it's fine, because regimes have been doing that forever. You put the fucking that's where they put Napoleon. They put him out on a fucking island. It's the magic island rule. Well, that's not in the country. It's somewhere else.
Outside the environment?
Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, 7 folks were shot in Baltimore every day, right? I mean, Baltimore and gun violence are like chocolate chips and peanut butter at this point. I mean,
Well, look, just because politicians lie every day doesn't mean we can just ignore it. The gun violence thing, what that means is you just need to be able to defend yourself, because no one else is going to be able to protect you but you.
Well, we could address the poverty issue and stop it at its source, but who's got time for solutions? Because let's face it,
Certainly not the military.
so many fucking, and all were Democrats. I don't know what that's in reference to. Probably the people being shot.
I don't know, less Democratic voters, I guess.
Poverty spawns violence.
Yeah, but it also makes good soldiers and good employees.
Yeah, it does.
So
That's the fundamental. And let's face it, the economic policies that are set mostly by, places like that aren't really even handled at the local or state level. You're looking at the corporate aristocracy setting that sort of thing. Let's face it, the jobs left because the industry left because they decided to outsource the jobs to insert other country here. And, did we do any sort of training for the people who got left behind on those jobs? Do we do any sort of educational system for those people? No? Okay, got it.
is it possible they're really trying to turn this into a third world country?
Trying, it already is.
Yeah. So there's a concerted effort, and we're going to ignore that and get on quarantine, because the guys who are doing, the quarantine, they're the good guys, but the guys who are, intentionally turning us into U.S. into a third world country, they're fine. Those are good guys, also, because they're the same guys setting the quarantine up. So there's got to be, it's all okay.
Well,
Just
mostly
trust them all.
Mostly the economic undermining was. Well, I mean, let's face it. We'd have to roll this clock back to about
Creature from Jekyll
1911.
Creature from Jekyll Island. And maybe
Yeah.
right before Fed Reserve. But before Fed Reserve, there was J.P. Morgan and
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to
You
roll
know.
this back to.
1800s even maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a while before we hit that mark, but it is. Yeah, it's gonna be late 1800s, early 1900s. We'd have to roll that clock back to start actually saying, okay, so maybe here you could consider it an origination point. Other than that, I mean, to say that it started, with any particular group or administration, nobody walking around basically was alive when this started.
But we know we have names. We do have names.
So I mean, generally speaking, it's financiers.
They want us dead, apparently.
Yeah.
If they wanted us dead, they would just let us go on about our lives and not try to quarantine us. They want us dead in a specific way. There's the slow kill method, kill you slow. Kind of like fast food, kill you slow. But kind of interesting to see what happens from here.
It's, it's always been the money people. That's generally speaking how you track most things. I don't know. Is Kimberly? Okay, Trump Jr. and Kimberly will be in the White House next. Is Kimberly the? Is that a Trump as well?
I don't think that's a Trump.
I don't know. He's had
think so.
It's like a reality
Tiffany.
TV show.
Tiffany's the other one that nobody knows. Tiffany is a Trump.
Ah.
Yeah, Tiffany. Trump doesn't even know Tiffany's name.
I feel like we could be coming up on a break here.
Yeah, no, we blew right past it. But, the new girlfriend. Okay. Yeah, no, it's difficult to pull back an audience. If you guys, let me know in chat. You guys want to hang out through a break? If you're cool with it, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. If you're not, we can pull it into the the end run.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do want to go check that dispensary but I don't have to.
No, it's fine. But yeah, okay. So Kimberly, I hadn't heard that. Is that like actually a rumor thing going around, or is that I don't? I have literally never heard that before.
But I like it. I mean, they just throw it out there. And
Oh,
you
it's
never know.
Trump Jr.'s new girlfriend. Okay.
They could be grooming everyone for that.
Kimberly Guilfoyle. Yes. Was she the one he was cheating on the wife with? Yes. Yeah, she's the Fox News anchor, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's the one that she's been working her way up. San Francisco City Supervisor, Court TV. Jesus Christ, she's been bouncing marriages, haven't she? Jesus Christ. She's like, that's not the only, then she married Eric Valenci. That was in so wait, hang on. So the first marriage lasted 5 years barely. But she and Trump have known each other at least a decade.
Somebody likes Fox News.
Yeah.
The Fox is on the Fox News. That's great.
Interesting. Yeah, she's getting around. She's literally moving up in her career by marriage. That's how she's doing it. That's funny.
Fox News.
Not an uncommon story.
That's, okay, so, this guy can get me as, like the mayor's wife or a city supervisor's wife, and then the next guy can get me a media career, and the next guy can maybe hook me up with a press secretary career or something.
Ride the cock carousel.
Jesus Christ. Good for her. She's a manipulative bitch, probably, but, she's using it.
Most of them are narcissistic.
If you own it, I'm okay with it. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're both probably narcissistic, but they have to put up an image.
Well, he's. I mean, let's face it. He's got that dumb, vacant look, frat boy look.
Absolutely, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You're right about that, Chris. all the mainstream news it has lost their faculties,
Ugh.
and they're really just reading from a script, and that's how
That
that's
comes
gonna
from
work.
Corporate America and the FBI and the CIA and fucking all the billionaires and shit.
So
Most of it comes from their advertisers.
this might be my last broadcast here in the studio. So what I would like to do is ask anyone out there listening to chime in on the chat room. And Mike, why don't you start things off? Would you break quarantine? And if so, what would cause you to break the quarantine?
I've already been breaking the quarantine all the time to go. To the
Well, if
store.
it becomes a little more of an order where you know that there's enforcement and things that might happen to you, would you break the quarantine?
Oh yeah.
And what would it take for you to break the quarantine?
Probably not much.
Carl's Jr. is what's being prompted in the chat.
So, is that someone you know, or is that he's talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
me, or is he talking about you? There's so many Mikes in the world. You have to be a little more specific.
Charles Jr. I'm
Uh,
down.
oh, I see. Yeah. Well, I would break quarantine. I was just thinking about it. My mom lives about a half a block away, if that, right around the corner, and I would go see her. Not that I'd be willing to spread it to her or to get it from her, but not that I think that either one of us has it. So, but either way, that might be the reason if she needed something, that might be the reason why I'd break quarantine. There's family members, people are important to you, and I think that it won't be long before they do order shelter in place order, by law, and then they'll shoot you in the face if you don't do it, and then people will have to do it, and then when that happens, can we break quarantine? Don't know. I'll have to see what happens at that time, but there are reasons, I think valid reasons, people might want to break the quarantine. We're not talking about the Black Plague here. This isn't that kind of situation.
Well,
I would break quarantine.
The Black Plague isn't a terrible situation either. We can cure that readily.
We can now,
It's-
but
It's just a bacterial infection.
It's
It's
not
an
like
easy
that.
hit for us.
yeah, it's not like that.
Viruses
So
are much harder to cure than
yeah, well, there isn't any. Find a cure for the common cold, but yeah, I would break quarantine and I'd move it over to the chat room, see what anybody said here. Chris, Sherpa, anybody? Let me know. Chime
you
in.
by Carl's Jr.
Looks like
Yeah.
grab him, Will.
No, they're having a different discussion. You can't wrangle chat like that.
I don't understand.
They're having a discussion about news sources.
Oh, Fox News is fake news.
Yeah,
They're all fake news. Though.
well.
You
That's
can't
what
really-
they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned that from my Let's Play
What
streamers.
do you mean by wrangle the chat room?
That's
What's that mean?
I've
That's
basically
a new term I've heard.
Yeah,
I don't
basically
have one.
like Let's Players will be like playing a video game or something, and chat just goes off on a tangent and has a
You
conversation.
can't wrangle them in.
And it's like you're like, hey guys, let's talk about no, because that doesn't work that way usually.
There are other people that will break the quarantine. What are your feelings on breaking the quarantine, Kai?
I don't recognize the law, the law of man in the first place, so it's not really an issue for me. It's just a matter of, look, I think it's a good policy. I think not authoritarian quarantines. I think you should, self blah blah blah, self blah, self actualization, self responsibility, that sort of thing. Yeah. See, this is a whole other thing going on in here. But the you make your own decisions. Is it, don't go to fucking spring break. Oh, but my mother needs her medication. Well, fucking go handle your business then. It's just, personal responsibility and common sense should play this decision for you, just like every other decision in your life. So for me, it's not really a different situation. It's just the same
You're
situation.
definitely not willing to shoot someone in the face, though, if they want to do that. Because I'm concerned about getting shot in the face. These police are
I'm
very
worried-
trigger happy. You're six
again,
times more likely to be.
I'm worried about getting injured, or I'm worried about the police no matter what. That's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
there is no situation where you can be
Yeah.
like, well, what about them now? No, I'm worried every time I see their vehicle. So it doesn't, their mere existence scares me in the first place. And so,
Gonna be a lot more tunnel people, is what you're saying.
yeah, if anybody, yeah, any Vegas listeners, I don't think I have any really, I don't have Valley
Mole
listeners.
people.
If any of y'all want, I have the water district maps for the tunnel systems in Las Vegas. It's a giant, like multi-hundred megabyte PDF. And I can, you can learn how to get from point A to point B without ever hitting the surface.
So there's always ways to do it, guys. But I think when I do break the quarantine, it's going to look a little sketchy. It really is. People are going to look outside their window because that's all they have to do is look outside. And they're going to see, oh, look at that guy. He's out there breaking quarantine. And let's call and report him. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't just say, call 911 if you see someone outside. If you see something, say something. Call, report them immediately, and we will take them to the camp.
I don't know if I should address chat or not.
Yeah, it's Chris and Dave aren't. They're both kind of.
Well, I mean, Chris has the point as far as I'm concerned. If you,
both of them are fucked.
it's
I'm rooting for Trump to win the next election.
He's an accelerationist, though.
I'm rooting for him. Let's go, Trump.
He wants everything to go to hell in a handbasket faster so we can hurry up and get this bullshit sorted. It's accelerationism. Don't take that as actual support of Trump.
Another
It's like throwing gas on the fire just to hurry up the burning of the house sort of situation.
They'll take whatever votes they can get.
Dave is a convert, said by Dave. I don't.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't really seen people talking in third person like that in a while.
That's usually the mark of sanity.
I like it.
Oh, nothing
So
scary.
fun.
Nothing scary ever happens when somebody starts speaking in the third person.
Perfectly normal.
That's totally that's one of those signs that's when somebody starts speaking in the third person, you're like, pay attention to that.
Yeah, who do you think is talking here?
It's like, whoa.
So are you not Dave? Can we talk to Dave, please? Can you bring Dave back? What'd you do with Dave?
That was like on Pod God show. They had the fucking medium on, and this chick all of a sudden like, this is somebody else, and so who are we speaking to? And now you're speaking to Bob, and that sort of thing. It's like, so you buying this shtick, or are you fucking crazy?
Yeah, it would have been different if he said, like Paul. Who's Paul? Paul's my other alter ego.
Oh, it's the first time, so we were seeing the first symptoms, the burgeoning psychosis. Happened live on air.
Yeah, man.
First split.
Yeah, the first split. There we go. The altar finally came out.
Never be the same again.
So, okay. So I don't know if Dave. I don't know if I'm going to regret this. We have 11 minutes left on this session. I will give you 5 minutes if you want to call in and talk some of this over. So let me know in chat.
He used to watch CNN, so he's getting better.
Yeah, now he's listening to Fox.
Oh, I see. He's a convert to Fox.
Yeah. If you go back through that entire conversation with Chris, and it was Chris is maintaining that they're all rubbish, and Dave is maintaining that the liberal left ones are rubbish.
Yeah, television is called television programming for a reason. And so if you're, most likely you're watching mainstream media, it's programming you. That's what its purpose is, stated purpose is. And I think you guys were talking about, brought to you by Carl's Jr. That's a very, very valid point. There was a time when the news couldn't have advertisements. They didn't want it to muddy the waters. And sure enough, that's exactly what it is. And so if you're watching any news, just understand you have to take it with a giant grain of salt, because there is a huge agenda. And typically, it's not a very obvious agenda that they have, but a lot of times, yeah, you can see these product placements within the news and that's a good example.
Which it's always funny to pay because you can suss the demographic out by watching the advertising. And watching the Fox News advertising set is fucking hilarious because you're like, they're advertising adult diapers, retirement IRA stuff.
I've fallen.
You know, yeah, I've
out.
fallen. My diabetes. They got the fucking, you know,
My diabetes.
you know, diabetes. You know, so yeah, the target demo definitely slants in a direction with Fox News.
So I'm gonna call this now, and I haven't listened to AJ in years.
Oh,
but
Grab 'em
let
was
me
around.
tell
We
you
were
something.
watching him just the other day.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna call it. First of all, let me just cover this. He has a channel on television. I didn't know it, but it's over the air here in Las Vegas. You just flip to the channel, and it's freaking him. I guess like 24 hours a day. How weird. Yeah, I did not know that. So, but it's just audio only. And it's like channel 37-8 or something. I forget what it is. But AJ is another discussion. But what I want to say about him is it's a sad story. It's a sad story because I think a lot of what he's pointing out is documented facts. A lot of what it is.
Can we not say a lot and say a portion?
A portion of it,
There
but
we
a
go.
good portion.
Thank you.
Don't enough of a portion that you should look at what he's talking about and maybe take him out of the equation. Because it's sad. Because what he does is he uses fear, and that's what he's always done. And it's hysteria. It's ruled by hysteria. That's what we have. It's what the government does. So having him as the messenger suited their purpose perfectly.
That
they
and
didn't
he's
need
a
to shut him
huckster
down
to start with.
He's a huckster, and that's obvious too. But what I'm saying is it's a sad story because there are things that deserve great attention, great amount of attention to what he's saying or what he's pointing out to, like the documents themselves. Forget the fact that he's just, wow, kind of a wackadoo. And I would probably say that to his face. Poor guy. Really, really.
I might not. He seems a little unhinged.
Too much of a wackadoo. No, I like the idea of not talking behind people's back. So I wouldn't necessarily, I would say that to his face, and we would have to have a long talk about it. But I think he brings the information from a place of fear, and what we need to do is bring it from a place of love, or at least a place of compassion or understanding that doesn't lead to fear. If there is some traumatic information that you're just now finding out, if you're just now learning about Monarch or MK Ultra or some of these really heavy things, it can really wear you down and put a weight on your soul. like it's a sketchy thing. It needs to be brought and presented in the correct light, and he hasn't been able to do that because I think a lot that gets lost in the.
He hasn't been able to do that because he didn't do that. I mean, if you punch yourself in the face repeatedly,
right, Chris.
And then you say like, no, why am I getting these bruises? It's sort of, that was self-inflicted.
Yeah, it's a sad story. There's a lot of people that need the information, and
the dude's fucking nuts.
He just can't present it correctly, man. Yeah, you're spot on, Chris.
I mean, that is within his control. So.
And that's right, Trade Crypto Live. Thanks for joining us, by the way. It's great to see you. Great to hear from you. Love your work. And, we all kind of have to stick together on this, and we really need to present these things. And the sad part is, I'll admit it, I even acted a little bit like him, because I would listen to his show years ago, decade ago or longer probably. I listened to the show and I would say, oh man, he's right, and I would go yell at people like he would yell, and like, oh, you gotta listen and you gotta know this is happening, this and that, and it's just not conducive to productive conversation. It's just not conducive. So it's a sad story because I think it would be good if people would listen and look into some of these things that he's saying. And the one thing I know he gets mocked about the most is he's turning the frogs gay. They say that he says that
that's the only thing I'll really give him credit for, is because he was actually really kind of close to that one.
But it's true. But I've learned a lot of interesting things. Just going back a decade or so, we talk about plastic bottles and how they leach a synthetic form of estrogen, and it's true. I mean, it's just proven. It's just not like someone's making that up. And of course, that kind of leads to the gay frog thing, and there's a lot that goes on. So.
Maybe he finally got his meds sorted then, Dave. Or maybe he's just drinking a lot because his latest DWI. I mean, the dude's...
Yeah, he wasn't over the legal limit, but they still arrested him on it. It's kind of interesting.
The dude, he's... Well, I mean, look at all the transcripts from his divorce proceedings. And, it's... You get to see a glimpse of AJ off camera in those, in those proceedings, and it's readily apparent.
And yeah, to address what you were saying, Trade Crypto Live, which by the way, Trade Crypto Live is on the YouTube feed for those listening on Podbean. And he was saying he kind of went down the AI rabbit hole, and boy, is that a deep one. I think you start to look at it, and you kind of, the further down you go, you realize there's going to be a singularity, and that's who knows how far off into the future that is. People talk about a general AI, general intelligence, AI, maybe 20, 30, 40 years away, which is real close. And depending on who kind of creates that and
I'm
what
all for
happens
it. I welcome our computer overlords.
I'm excited about the open source AI project. So we'll kind of have to see about that. But there will be a singularity, and we're kind of seeing, the effects of the potential effects of that as the AI begins to develop.
I'm all for it. How many thousand years have we given human beings the chance? We've yet to run it correctly. So fuck it.
Let's see. Well, I'm not ready to necessarily give it up just at the moment. But the oil proxy war that you bring up is actually very interesting as well. The fact that oil, I think, is like
2037, I think.
22 or less under.
No,
that.
it's 2037. It was Grab 'em and I were looking that up the other day.
Incredible. This is incredible, and oil really is a lead indicator of markets, I think, too. And I know Trade Crypto Live would have some information on that, but boy, when oil goes that low, there's some madness going on, and of course, consumption has dropped to such a degree. And I don't know if we're getting anything from China. My feeling is that we're not getting anything, not even a single percent.
Saudi Arabia increased their production and lowered their price.
So if we're not getting shipments from China,
we're back. Okay, so we went back up. Yeah, because when Grab 'em and I were looking at it, it was just the other day, and it was down to 2037. Yeah, 2037. We're back up to 2243. So there was a mild rebound.
Yeah, and Trade Crypto Live was talking about how most people really don't understand the implications. If you were on Podbean, I'd love to have you call in right now and talk a little bit about that. I know you have a lot to say, and definitely appreciate your broadcast that you put out. We all got to keep track of this, and there's a lot of moving pieces, and so it's tough for just any one person to kind of keep track of all these rapidly changing conditions, and that's what we're dealing with now. It kind of is, and I think that's why community is so important. I guess I could take this opportunity to remind people I do have a Discord server, and there's a lot of interesting information we share with each other in the community there. Of course, feel free to reach out. I'm all over social media as Life Size Box, LIFESIZEBOX, Life Size Box, all one word. The idea is to think outside the box. I think sometimes we build life-size boxes. We don't really realize it because the target's so big right in front of you. It's just, so I'm encouraging everyone to think outside the box and even think outside your life-size box. And so you can find me on social media that way. Please reach out. I'd love to connect with new people. And again, I just want to thank everyone for listening, for watching. I really enjoy this show. I know Kai always has a great time with these shows as well. He's on frequently.
Throw me a follow.
He's on frequently.
Yeah, you'll get a notification through the Podbean app for any of my episode postings or live streams. But yeah, no, it wasn't anywhere close to this, but I won the Podcaster of the Day award, which they created for me the other day, because I was on. We totaled it. It was 11 hours and like 38 minutes, something like that, in one day. That isn't normal. So,
but you can find the regular Proudly Radical podcast, which is Kai's solo project at kaisthings.com, and you can find the podcast you're currently listening to, Misery Likes Company, on kaisthings.com as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you can find it all through the Podbean app as well, but you can find all that stuff through the website. I've been given my 2-minute warning from the streaming service.
This is extreme. Real quick before we move on, oil is currently under the cost of production, which is super massive. I always wondered what would happen to Bitcoin when that happened, as far as mining Bitcoin. So we got a similar thing. I'd love to see how this whole thing plays out. And thanks for listening, everyone.
Okay, so we will wrap that. So basically, I will do what I always do as my exit.
Are we calling it?
Well, I mean, it's down to a 1-minute warning. So As always, my name's Kai, my co-host Mike. Thanks for joining us on the Misery Likes Company live stream. And as always, I hope you're as well as you can be.